Sorry, we're just two dudes podcasting. We're not a cab. We're going to be out of the lane in a second.
Okay.
All right. Are you looking for a cab?
Yeah, I have a really drunk friend
Yeah.
who's puking on the side of the road.
Wow.
If I had any extra seats, I would drive you.
Anything can happen
but
on this
I'm
podcast.
Me, I don't need to drive.
Cool,
Can you
cool.
drive my friend home?
No, I cannot. I have a baby seat and no other seats in here. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
That's okay.
All right.
Wow, that was
Well, that was good. That was great content for the
that was
episode.
amazing content.
My friend puked.
My friend puked. Can I get a ride? No.
Well, buddy,
Another great night in Canadian comedy.
Your parents, they did it right. They met, tried their hand, hit a fence, built a house inside, and made a life for three bright girls. But the one to really shine is you. The one who really shines is you. Well, Mariette, you're an Acadian girl. From the north can be so cold and narrow at times, you know. You always say you get away, but sometimes you say you wanna stay. I think you better wait, you better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. Oh, you better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. Remember that party in Tracadie? You drank me under the table, and you got the cops to leave. 100 people, and you kept them up all night. Told them sleep was only for the dead, and when alive, you might as well. Daydreams, acid trips. She thinks she's crazy. Orgies on her bucket list. No thought it's too far off. Well, sometimes you say you wanna stay. I think you better wait. You better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. Oh, you better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. You better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. Oh, you better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. You better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. Oh, you better wait. Wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a string. You better wait for your wedding. Romance can attach you to your home with a
Hello. How are you doing? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good middle of the night if that's when you're listening to this. Currently, right now, it is Wednesday, June 12th, 2019, and I'm currently holding in a sneeze. Is it going to pass? You know when you got one up your nose and you feel it? But yeah, June 12th. We're almost in the middle of June, people. Can you believe that? That winter was so fucking long, wasn't it? It was so long. It snowed before Halloween. The snow stayed on the ground in like the first week of November. And then we had fucking winter, it felt like, until the beginning of May. And then the spring was, so far, has been 5 or 6 weeks of, trash. But the past week it has gotten pretty nice here in Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada. I'm glad you're tuning in. This is the introduction of the Shane Ogden episode, my comedy dad. It's Father's Day this weekend, so, who better to have on than my living comedy dad? Because, unfortunately, my other comedy dad, the gentleman who got me into stand-up comedy and gave me some of my first stage time, some of my first awesome stage time, killed himself. So Shane hasn't done that yet, and I hope he doesn't. Although Shane talks about it a lot in his stand-up comedy, in his act. We talk about it in this podcast. He talks about it a lot on his podcast, Birchwood, with Shane Ogden. Shane's a great guy, though. But before I get into that, that first song you heard off the top there, wasn't that a good song? Did you like that one? Do you want to know a little bit more information about that first song? Well, I have to tell you, every single song in this episode, it is somewhat of a Folly Fest preview episode. Originally, I had a different guest booked, and I had Shane coming on a later episode, but it kind of worked. I went and saw Shane at the, Tribute Bar and Lounge, the bottom of Club Chrome, for his comedy tour, Best of New Brunswick. It was him, my brother Mark Splood, Chris Hovey, and Glenn K. Amo at the Tribute Bar and Lounge last Friday. And then after the show was great. Audience was a little bit light and not very energetic, but hey, you win some, you lose some. I'm pretty sure they all had a blast, except maybe Chris Hovey. He seemed to not really have a good time, but that's adversity, folks. That first song, though, you heard, back to it, Trevor, you're going to have the fucking ADD brain again, man. You're going to be all over. You're going to have 50 different spider webs spun, and you're not going to reel any of them in, and you're going to leave so many questions to the audience. The first song you heard is called Wait. I love that tune. It's from a band called TAMPA. Not from Tampa, though. This is a Folly Fest preview episode. So a lot of this music actually is from New Brunswick itself. This one, TAMPA, the song called Wait, off the album Belated Love. They're from Moncton, New Brunswick. I believe that song actually won a... excuse me. Got to clear that nose. I drank a little bit of coffee and then my nose started to run. That Wait, if you YouTube TAMPA and then Wait, there's an awesome video that goes with that song. I believe it won an ECMA, maybe not this year, but maybe last year, 2018 maybe. I love that tune. Just, it's New Brunswick, man. The lyricism with the New Brunswick references, orgies on a bucket list. I fucking love that lyric right there, man. If an orgy isn't on your bucket list, are you really living? Travis Boyce, TJ Boyce, you better have an orgy on your bucket list, all right? Seriously, if skateboarding and fucking doing stand-up comedy is on your bucket list, I hope fucking multiple people in bed is on your podcast, as long as it's consensual, is what I'm saying. Consenting adults. Yeah, that was TAMPA. I'm going to give you a little bio from TAMPA. I'm going to do a little bit different on this introduction. I wrote out a little bit and took from their social media presence, a little blurb, a little Twitter. So I'm just going to read it as best as I can, because I don't know if I'm even a good reader. TAMPA is 3 guys and a girl in a rock and roll band from Moncton. The album titled Belated Love was released March of 2019. That album was recorded at the Memram Cook Recording Company, the MRC, in Memram Cook, New Brunswick. The song played on the podcast was titled Wait. Yeah, you already told him, Trevor, so you didn't have to really mention that last line. Will we edit it out? Probably not. But yeah, if you're listening and you're like, I know 20% of my listeners are down in the States. What the hell is Folly Fest? What is a folly and what is a fest? Well, Folly Fest is a festival in Gagetown, New Brunswick, which is a small little village here in New Brunswick, probably a population of around 1,000. Over under on 1,000? What do you guys think? Think in your head. I'm going to tell you right now. Village of Gagetown, over under 1,000.5. So 1,000.5 is the over under. Let's see here. Population 698. Under. So Gagetown, yeah, similar to like Nashwauk Village, I believe. So it's, yeah, anyways. Yeah, it's an awesome festival. It's on the Queens County Fairgrounds is what it is. And if you hear that in the back, it's my kid playing Bop It. And he does not get past 0. I think he's gotten 1 once. I think he figured out to bop it first. Which is a sad, sad thing, because really you should be getting 3 at minimum. And then if you screw up, you don't know where they take it from. Bop it, twist it, pull it. I get it, but the first 3 are generally always the same. You must be malfunctioning. It's an R2D2. Bop it. Anyways, Trevor, get some coffee into you real quick. If you're drinking something right now, how about you have a drink too? Cheers. You got Bop It, that one. If you're listening. Yeah. Gagetown. I've been to Folly Fest. This will be my 8th year. It will be my first year volunteering, guys. I'm excited to volunteer. I've paid for the ticket price for 7 years now. The first one I went to was in, what would it have been? 2000. Well, if we count, 2012 was the first year I went to Folly Fest. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Yeah, this is the 8th one. And then in like 2017, I only went for like a single day because Emily was pregnant with Kendrick. So this is Kendrick's first music festival, like weekend music festival, outside of the womb. Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great weekend. That's coming up at the end of the month, the last weekend in June, just before the long weekend there on Canada Day, which happens to be a Monday. So I think it's June 30th, 29th, and 28th. In the village of Gagetown, Tampa's going to be there. All of the music that you hear on this episode will be there. A majority of it is from New Brunswick. Tampa's from Moncton. The song that you will hear after the intro, after this monologious effort from me, will be Jamie COMEAU and the Crooked Teeth from St. John, New Brunswick, guys. They're an alternative rock band and folk group based in St. John. They're a 5-piece, and they combine style and originality with personality and stage presence to bring forth an unfamiliar sound that garners attention from their audience. The Crooked Teeth are on a quick rise from basement jam sessions to popular New Brunswick venues. They are the 2017 Harvest Jazz and Blues Galaxy Rising Star winners. They're a great band. I've seen them before. I've seen them a couple of times. Very talented. A band that if, works hard, makes good music, and can keep it together and want to travel down the long, dark road of a touring musician, they might be able to do it. The song that plays on this episode is called Tall Pine. It's off of one of their releases. I've heard the song in person. It's great. It actually was used as part of a Folly Fest promotion like just, kind of recapping 2018. So yeah, do you want me to just go through the list right now, try to get it through? This is actually in order. So it goes TAMPA, and then after this introduction, it goes Jamie COMEAU and the Crooked Teeth. And then after that, we've got an Australian band, Earth Music with Sublime Dimensions, a band that I've seen twice as well. Oka, they are from Australia. So a rare exception on this podcast that we are playing non-Canadian content. Oka, they're from Australia. The song that plays is Nalu. Oka in Canada, I believe, is like a occupation in Quebec, wasn't it, with some Aboriginal people in the military back in the 80s and 90s. It got pretty dicey, if I'm not mistaken. But this Oka is an Australian earth music with sublime dimensions, electronic dreamtime roots. They have toured extensively, building a loyal fan base and gaining an unforgettable reputation as crowd pullers. I have seen them at Evolve, and they put on a hell of a show. The track played is off their 2013 album called Free Spirit, and the song is titled, as I've already told you, Nalu. So give it up for Oka, everybody. Woo! Give it up for Oka, Kendrick. Give it up for Oka. Oka. He'll probably be sleeping for that one. I'm kind of excited to see how long he stays up, how long he wants to, to keep her going, because Folly Fest, man, she goes. Music starts off at like 9 or 10 in the morning and is on the stages until 2 a.m. And then if you still, got a little bit of go juice left in you, head on over to the silent disco from 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. Have I done that before? Yeah. Have I been high on drugs going to the silent disco, yelling obscenities? Yes, I have. Did they, say, Trevor, keep it down. You got headphones on and you're just yelling. And I'm, holy moly, I'm deckered right now. And then you realize, you're like, holy fuck, okay. And then, bring it back. I'm not stupid. Yeah. After that, PALLMER. It's a little bit of instrumental music. PALLMER is Emily Kenny. Take two. PALLMER is Emily Kennedy, viola, and Mark Klein, cello. Based out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, the pair perform concerts that bridge the gap between classical and indie music, flowing between compositions and their own songwriting, creating ethereal soundscapes that offer moments of contentment, melancholy, and introspection. First of all, guys, these musicians and the way they write their bios, everything is born out of. The music is born and creates a feeling of this. That's where comedy differs. It's like comedy, they're trying to make you laugh, where music, it seems like they're really trying to sell themselves. Let me try to rewrite this one. First of all, I don't know what a viola is. I am assuming it's a variation of a violin. I'm going to say smaller. Let's see. Difference between viola and violin. The violin and viola look alike, and they have the same structure, color, and are both played with a bow. However, there are some major differences between a violin and a viola. Viola have a deeper and mellower sound, so it's like bassy. Not really, but both instruments are orchestral string instruments, and they originated in Italy. Oh, okay. So not much smaller. Is it easier to play violin or viola? What do they say? Anyways, I'm not going to... it's just funny, they bridge the gap between classical and indie music. Cool. Flowing between compositions and their own songwriting, creating ethereal soundscapes that offer moments of contentment. You're going to be content when you listen to us. You are going to be melancholy, and God damn it, you will think. It's good though. I love the song. I'm kind of taking the piss out of their biography, but it's a good tune. I like it. They're on the free stage, the courthouse stage, a part of a special, probably New Brunswick grant. at the courthouse stage. There's a few stages at Folly Fest. There's the main stage, which is in the ticketed area. There's the Yippee stage, which is the side stage, which is also in the ticketed area. But because Folly Fest is so awesome and the village of Gagetown is so awesome, they've kind of partnered up together and done their thing where they offer free music to the village, and PALLMER is a part of that. If I run across any other artists, I will do the same. What's the song? PALLMER. Green grass? Grass shed? What is it? Grass garden. Grass garden, baby. Get out there in the grass garden and mow it, motherfucker. All right, quickly, Trevor, because we want to talk a little bit about the interview, a little bit what we will have. All right, the next song after that. Sorry, fuck. Young Satan in Love. Mark Sploot is going to love the name of that band, Young Satan in Love. I've heard a lot about this band. This band has been around for a little bit in Fredericton, and I've heard they're weird. In a good way, weird. And when I see the band pictures, I recognize most of the faces. When you've been doing stand-up comedy for 7+ years, about 5 with all the hiatuses I've taken. But hey, calendar to calendar, 7 years, 8 years coming up here in July. You recognize these faces, right? So Young Satan in Love, they are a performance art rock band / spectacle from Fredericton, New Brunswick. And the track that I played on this one is called Viral Sensation. I'm kind of want to see these guys and gal if there's a woman in it. I watched a video on YouTube just doing a little bit of research for the podcast. They had a hot dog machine on stage and they were steaming buns and making dogs and giving them out to the audience. Like, sounds good to me, man. The last job I had, they had a hot dog steamer. And let me tell you, man, when they brought that out for lunch and someone went and got fucking 2 packs of dogs and a couple packs of buns, it was a good day. Then, after Young Satan in Love plays, there's a little bit more conversation, a little bit more jibber jabber between Shane and I. The song that will play, probably the most recognizable band from Fredericton. If I say, hey, name a band from Fredericton that might be the highest profile artist or band. Some people, like, what would they think? Matt Anderson is probably one of them. That's who I can think. And then I can think of this band, Grand Theft Bus. Do you know who they are? Grand Theft Bus? You don't? Well, they're an indie rock band from Fredericton. And I'm sorry. I'll try to edit these out. I'll try, but I should have blew my nose before I started this introduction. I don't feel like ending it now 19 minutes in. So maybe I'll try to mute those. Grand Theft Bus, they're recording an album. Their first live record. It's going to be pressed onto vinyl. They haven't released an album since 2012. That album is Say It With Me. And the track that I played on this episode was called Something Medicinal. You can support their live album pressing. If you go on Facebook and you type Grand Theft Bus, I'm sure you'll find a link rather quickly. They're raising the funds on, I believe, Indiegogo. Just taking pre-sales on there, and then we'll press that. So, yeah. Grand Theft Bus, baby. Woo! Love them. They're like a jam band. Not much singing. They were very popular from what I've heard when I was, when I was at the tail end of high school and when I was in college. They'd do 150 shows across Canada and shit like that. So wildly successful band that has gone on the long, dark road of touring. They always put on a fantastic show. They sure do. So what do we got now? We got 3 bands left, guys. That's 6 down, 3 to go, 20 minutes in to the introduction. We've got a double-double. You guys remember that? When I played 2 songs back to back? I had to do it because I realized when I was editing these songs in, I was like, oh shit, I still got 3 songs left. Excuse me. And I only have like 24 minutes left. And I put one at the very end. So I didn't have a spot for like, 2 individual, like I didn't want to break it up and be like 8 minutes of conversation and then a song, 8 minutes of conversation and then a song and then like 4 minutes and then, out of here. So I decided to go, and it kind of worked after I randomized the order. At the tail end here, we had 2 bands that play instrumental music. There are no lyrics, so I thought it'd be cool to kind of sandwich them together. Both kind of like jazz, rock, instrumental. First band from St. John, New Brunswick, hailing from St. John, New Brunswick, were born. See, this is where we go. I'm not making that up. It's in their bio. McKinley, Morrison, and Williams were born from creativity and lust. Ooh, sexy. To be free in music. McKinley, Morrison, and Williams were born from creativity and lust to be free in music. So it sounds like, the band was created in a mud puddle at a Grateful Dead concert or something. McKinley, Morrison, and Williams bring their styles together to form an original mix of jazz fusion. These 3 guys enjoy pleasing audiences with their tasteful and explosive jams. Get out to see these cats and the magic that they are creating. Yeah, that's a pretty sexual bio. That's a pretty sexual bio. I don't care what you say. All right? But if you throw McKinley, Morrison, and Williams on, you're going to fucking screw, okay? It's a little bit like, it's jazzy, like the song that I played, George the Elephant. It's no diss to them. It's a little bit repetitive. Of course, a studio album for this band is never going to do their live performance justice because they can take George the Elephant and it's like 3 minutes on the record. That can be a 12-minute song and they go fucking 3 different solos for each artist and they all bring it back and it's that same, you know how music works. But what I'm saying is like, you could probably like start screwing and getting a real good rhythm on some McKinley, Morrison, and Williams, all right? And then the second part of the double-double, the second sugar and cream on that one, baby, is the Apollo Sons. Apollo Sons play instrumental music, taking elements from all forms of music. I can barely breathe this morning, man. I got to quit smoking. You guys can hear it. I know you can because I eat the microphone and then when I go on and exhale, I feel bad for you guys. I'm so sorry. Nothing is off limits to help bring you an experience you will not soon forget. Born from the fusing. See, these jazz bands like to be born from the fusing of 4 uniquely talented Winnipeg, Canada based musicians. Apollo Sons have created a refreshing and innovative sound combining instrumental, rock, jazz, and experimental music. Very cool. They're on tour. They're from Winnipeg. Go Jets. Hashtag Kevin Hayes to the Flyers. Last but not least, we got a new band on the scene, all right. New band on the scene, all right. Hey guys, and last song on the podcast, new band on the scene, all right. Band on the scene, all right, all right. I gotta see how high this mountain is before I do that. I'll fucking find an information out, One second. Do you know who the band is? They're a new band. They're a new band. Like, I don't see anything. Anyways, it could be mythological, this fucking mountain. It's probably a hill. Anyways, I know some of the guys in this band kind of, nod when I see them, acquaintances type. And that's how Folly Fest is, man. You see all these people, in the audience and they're up on stage being super talented. It's just this melting pot of a community. The last song that will play us out on this episode, the first part of 3 episodes of Folly Fest preview. So if you like the music on this episode, you're going to really like the music on the next 2. Well, not guaranteed, but Folly Fest does a good job curating local and incredible international talent. Last band on the list. They all come together. They're all in different projects. the Chickahominy Mountain Band. I love bands like this, like North Mississippi All-Stars. You know, they're taking real country and, you know, slaying it. Chickahominy Mountain Band, they're a modern day classic country sounds. The Chickahominy Mountain Band has the frame of a traditional country blues band that isn't afraid to let go and let the music do the talking. Fair enough. Great Twitter elevator pitch. Hey, what kind of music do you play? We play modern day classic country sounds, MDCCS. You know, we take the frame of traditional country blues, but hey, we're not afraid to go somewhere. We might play a Grateful Dead tune. You want a George Strait tune? You want to hear some Shania Twain? Honey, I'm home and I had a hard day. You know? Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. We laid rubber on the Georgia highway. Got a little crazy, but never got caught. Down by the river on a Friday night, something on the barren of the pale moonlight. Talking about dirty my winter, you know. Best thing about Chattahoochee is Alan Jackson understands rape culture, or he understands rape culture. Jesus Christ. He understands what consent is. Back in, whenever that song came out, early 2000s. Let's see here. Chattahoochee. When did that come out? 1992. Okay. Early 2000s. Jesus Christ. Way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. We laid rubber on the Georgia asphalt. Got a little crazy, but never got caught. Down by the river on a Friday night, a pyramid of canes in a pale moonlight. Talking about cars and dreaming about women. Never had a plan, just living for the minute. Okay, where does he say that here? One second. Where does he understands it. She says no. Oh, yeah. Well, we fogged up the windows in my old Chevy. I was willing, but she wasn't ready. So I settled for a burger and a grape snow cone. Dropped her off early, but I didn't go home. What a nice guy Alan Jackson was. Don't you think? Awful nice. I mean, totally standard, and if a woman says no, you don't screw her. Just my 2 cents. But, so that's the music that plays on this episode. The interview, you heard a sneak peek there off the top. At the very end, so Shane did a show. We hung out. We recorded once again in the van. Both episodes so far have been done in the van. So maybe every episode from season 2 will be recorded in the van. Could be a cool gimmick. We had a good time. First, we left, wanted to get out of the downtown area just because it's loud. So we went to like a quiet spot in downtown in front of the New Brunswick provincial legislature and across from the Crown Plaza. It was quiet on that street. We recorded. I didn't pull out my. Shane's got a podcast, by the way, guys. Birchwood podcast. Shane Ogden. Check it out. You heard an ad just before this. It's good. It's real, and it's fun. Shane's having a lot of fun doing it, and he does it for a lot of the same reasons that I do my podcast. It's kind of a crossover episode, not really, but kind of. Shane, he records his podcast on his phone. You don't have a podcast, you have a phone. That wasn't a good RF. RF does not sound like that. That was more definitely Apu. RF doesn't sound like Apu. Yeah. So Shane pulls out his phone, he presses record, and I'm just like, I want there to be different content on the podcast. I don't really like crossover episodes that much because, we're going to, his listeners are going to listen to his episode and my listeners are going to listen to mine. But I'd rather kind of do somewhat 2 different conversations and have more content for you guys because I'm sure we have a lot of crossover. By the sounds of it, Shane has a lot more listeners on his podcast, but he's been networking in comedy for, almost 3 times. Yeah, 3 times the amount that I've been doing comedy. So his numbers are good. But long story short, we record for like 40, 45 minutes. I can see the timer on his phone on the episode recorder. And so I'm like, you know what, I'm going to pull out mine, because if not, we're going to be here all fucking night. So there might be, if you listen to his, which might be coming out on Friday or the Friday after, there might be a little bit of overlap of like, oh, I heard that on Trevor's or whatever. But for the most part, it's probably a good like 3 hours if you listen to both of content, maybe 2.5 hours. My episode is like 1 hour and 45 minutes. We recorded for like 40 minutes, and then he's like, I got to go piss. I can't hold it anymore. So then we drove to the Irving. He went and had a piss. Then we drove to another quiet spot in Fredericton, just an empty parking lot. We shot the shit some more there. And then I drove him back. And then you heard that excerpt. That was real. I pulled into like the taxi lane to drop Shane off to go to his car. It was about like 1:30 in the morning. The bars were just about to let out. Maybe it was 1:15. And this girl like hails me down like a cab. I felt like my dad. And you heard what went on there. And I'm too nice. Like listening back, I'm like, why would you let a girl or man puke? Like who just puked in your vehicle? Like even if you did have seats. Oh yeah, come on in. I'll drive you home for free while you're wasted. Like I gotta get it together. Yeah. Shane's episode is good. I was a little worried because like when I was done, I'm like, dude, we just had 2 manic guys talk for like 2 hours. It felt like we didn't get anywhere. Like not per se a bad episode, like maybe 1 or 2 of my episodes in the past. It was good though. Like I edit the podcast, and I probably listened to a good 90% of this episode, mostly at 2 times the speed. So we sound like two chipmunks talking like this, but just because I don't have the time to listen to it at 1x the speed. You should see this kid right now. He's leaned up. First of all, his cartoons are on mute as I record this. Oh, the Wiggles are playing. And he's leaned up. I'll try to take a picture so I can post it on the Instagram. Can you see him? Adorable. He's leaned up against his dinosaur as like a chair, watching cartoons that are on mute. The Wiggles. We got tickets for Kendrick to go see the Wiggles. Emily bought them. I don't think he really understands. Hey, we're going to see the Wiggles in September, but he's going to lose his mind. He fucking loves the Wiggles. Yeah. So, all in all, though, it is a good episode. Like, it's dark at times, We're comedians, so we make light of dark things, right? Is that what comedians do? We make light of dark things. We laugh at murder and, shit that we probably shouldn't laugh at. And Shane made a good point. He's like, maybe we laugh because we don't know how to process that information. And when he said that, I kind of, I'm like, oh, fuck, man. That might be the case right there. Is there anything more to talk about on the podcast? Any open mics or you doing any gigs, Trevor? Not right now. I got an interview tomorrow, so fingers crossed, guys out there. Maybe throw some positive thoughts out into the universe for all mucks. I got a place here in the city hiring, open interviews. Come on in, we'll interview you. Yeah. So we'll see. I could use a job. Even if they said, can you start Monday? It's a yes, probably. If I can get childcare in order by Monday, I'm probably going to have to take it. Even though I do want to go, I got officially announced for Evolve. I know, I think I leaked that on a previous episode, but that's official now. Evolve has confirmed that I will be there We'll be playing Sunday at 11 a.m., myself and Scott Belford. Super stoked for that. So grab tickets for Evolve, grab tickets for Folly Fest. Open mic next Friday, not this Friday in Fredericton, but next Friday. Sabrina Harnish is hosting. We got 4 or 5 people signed up. Super cool. Yeah. After that, couple weeks, Ultimate Roasting Championships, which we'll get to. I'm going to do an episode, like a preview, where I think I might call all the roasters on the lineup, and I think that'd be very cool. So, yeah. Guys, I think this is long enough. I feel like it wasn't, but it definitely is. I'm looking down at the recorder, 36 minutes plus the intro. Like we're in a once again 3-hour club, baby. I want to thank you for listening. I want to thank Shane for being an awesome guest. I love you, brother. Please never harm yourself. I know, I know we talk about it, but it's a real thing, dude. If you're so open with it, it's there. Always reach out. Know that there are people there that love you, my man. Truly do. We talked about that, like you don't know, like your children's love compared to, like wife, husband, partner type love. And it's true, but there are people there, Shane, that, love you platonically and you're a great dude. So don't fucking do it, bud. Don't, like you say, jerk the wheel into oncoming traffic. Is this podcast sponsored by anybody? It is sponsored by the Sploodcast. Is it? I don't know. Anyways, I got to shit, so I'm going to run this episode. You guys have a great day. We'll be back next Wednesday with a brand new episode of Whatever Trevor. Today, Wednesday, June 12th, it is Game 7 of the St. Louis Blues versus the Boston Bruins. We will determine a winner for a Stanley Cup champion. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Play the goddamn tune. Play it! Did you press play yet? Play the fucking tune, Tall Pine, just like my grampy wanted.
Hey, what's up, weirdos? It's Mark Splood, and I am the host of the Sploodcast. But you should probably know that already, shouldn't you? You know what I'm talking about, right? Everyone listens to my show. What's the point of even doing a commercial? Well, listen, just in case there's one poor bastard out there who doesn't know about it, it's the best damn podcast in the world, and you can find it every Thursday on iTunes or Podbean or wherever you get your shit. Get my shit. It's called the Sploodcast. Check it out. Download it. Sit down on your ass, crack a Dos Equis, fire up your favorite sativa, and drive her right the fuck into you.
Boys Club. Is it called Boys Club because my apartment looks like a boy lives in it?
I wouldn't say a boy lives in it. I would say a boy is kidnapped somewhere in here.
Boys Club.
We're everything. We're true crime. We're world star hip hop.
World Star Hip Hop. We're Netflix reviews.
Stories of the day.
Boys Club.
Listen.
Yeah, do it. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. I think. No, we're not. And on Google Play. Nobody gives a shit.
Boys Club.
Boys Club podcast. Now with 90% more sound clips of black people.
Boys Club.
Touch me and I'll sue.
Hello, I'm comedian Shane Ogden, and this is an advertisement for my podcast, Birchwood. I'm a father, electrician, husband, comedian, show producer, and founder of Chuckles Comedy Club in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada. Sounds pretty interesting, right? It isn't. Watch me prove it to you, one episode at a time. You see, other podcasts like to focus on things that are interesting. Not me. I've discovered in order to stand out, you have to be the same as everyone. I'm just fucking with you. It's actually pretty interesting. And it's called Birchwood with Shane Ogden.
body of water, beautiful and elegant as a whole. Oh, ripple after ripple surrounded his soul. And if only she could hold him, except he floats below the skies. Oh, those hidden memories of him staring in those eyes. Oh no, she'd just rather stay by. To breathe the air and hang around for a long time. Under that penny tree is where you'll find me, under that tall pine. Him as a burning fire scorching through the night, but she can't get too close to him, she's dangerously bright. She'd just rather stay by. And if only she could hold him, except he's hotter than the sun. She fears one day she'll lose him and he'll be back up on the run, yeah. She just wants to be with you. For a long time, under that penny tree is where you'll find me, under that tall pine. To breathe the air and hang around for a long time, under that penny tree is where you'll find me, under that tall pine. find me under that tall pine.
that show, and the fact you could just do parody commercials. Like, do you remember some of the, maybe you didn't watch SNL very much, but there would be these parody commercials where it would cut to some office ladies, and it would be like, oh, Karen, what happened to your hand? She goes, I know. And he's like, you've tried hiding it. You've tried wearing extra gloves. There's no hiding it. You have extra fingers. And this girl holds up 7 fingers. And it's like a product that will fry off your gimp extra fingers. And at the end of the commercial, this guy asks her out, like, hey, do you want to go to dinner, Karen? And she's like, yes, sure. Pick me up at 5. And she has 5 fingers. Man, that made me love SNL so much. And the idea of like Lonely Island, the Netflix special that just came out.
that
the
SNL.
Bash Brothers, like all those movies, Anchorman, Step Brothers, like that all was like influenced by the creators at SNL. Like,
right.
All that gold, ironic comedy.
Well, I mean, there's tons of it. Goes back to like National Lampoon.
Yes,
and,
The Naked Gun and Airplane and all those early hilarious, and now they're not seen as hilarious because the pacing's different. Like if you go back and watch Dumb and Dumber right now, it's nowhere near as funny as experiencing it at that time. It's like people that...
Because life moved at a different pace, or...
Yeah, life moved at a different pace. Have you ever watched an
I've
old TV show where it's like
Dumb and Dumber
the intro?
still holds up.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
No. Okay, here's why it doesn't. Step Brothers. When Step Brothers came, there were so many laughs per minute that when you go back and watch Dumb and Dumber, you still love it because it's like nostalgic, and the jokes are very funny, but they're very far between. Like there's always this big montage and music in the middle, and that's very touching, and you love it. But it's not that fast-paced machine gun comedy that people have grown to expect after Step Brothers. I really feel like Step Brothers was a turning point for what needs to happen to make people laugh now. I feel like people are so desensitized, and I feel like the people that are on top of that are like the comedians that you see like Joe Rogan and Louis C.K. and Bill Burr and like all these guys, and I'm not counting out the girls like I don't know who, Amy Schumer, and I know that's a controversial name, but she is like a top selling comedian.
Oh,
you know
100%.
What I mean? Like very successful. And who else is Lisa Schlesinger? How do you say her? Eliza Schlesinger? I can't say her name. So many. And Maria Bamford's actually one of my favorite comics.
Yeah, she's good.
Did you see her special?
Like the one for just her parents?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her audience is just her mom and dad.
Yeah.
It was insane to watch.
Yeah.
All the faces and voices and good writing. Very good jokes too,
I saw her live. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
I saw her on the same show as Brody Stevens, actually.
Dude.
Yeah.
Wow. What a gift.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
You did some cool things over your life,
I have. Yeah.
In your life. Oh, not over your life. I don't know what I was thinking. No, really, because you did stand up. You did it well. You started Wilsers, a popular open mic, and predating John Forward even, like you're one of the first guys to do it. You're kind of a pioneer in that way like me. And it's been a pleasure knowing you over the years,
Oh,
trying to get on that saying good stuff to people vibe,
Likewise, man.
Yeah.
And we do need to be more kind to each other.
Yes,
people
I absolutely
do.
agree.
You know what I mean? I try to tell my friends that I love them. You know what I mean? Often,
That's good. It's important to do that, because like my friend Dale says, we're so willing to like tear each other down, but it takes a brave person to go up to someone and say, hey, you know what? I really like you and you add value to my life. And, I appreciate you, man. Like, this is going to be great. Being positive with people like that is so valuable, especially in this climate of rage, I'm sorry to say. Like, and I hate to get back to it, but I really feel like we are so divided as people. And maybe that's always been the case. And I'm just kind of, maybe I'm getting a little bit older and I'm starting to feel like how harsh the world can be more. Maybe my skin is thinner instead of thicker. Like you think of an aged person as someone who grows tough, right? That's just a myth. Like, actually, the older and closer you get to death, the more valuable life becomes, the more you realize that the people you interact with and the moments in your life are so fucking precious. We're all going to lay on the slab. At the end of the day, we're going to be put in the ground or burned into ash. And that's just the reality. And it's not to bum people out. It's to let them, to actually do the opposite, to make them go, holy shit, like, this is amazing. I'm floating in a ball in space.
Yeah.
And right now, like, the most important thing to me are the, people that I love and things that I love to do. And like, cause really, like, you really only have moments. That's it. I swear to God. And it's so terrifying and liberating at the same time. Like, I'm living the best version of my life right now that I've ever lived. And it's because for 42 years, I made a lot of mistakes. And I've seen the dark parts of life. And I know that they're there, and I'm running from them like crazy. And I'm trying so desperately to figure out what it is that I need to do to make myself happy, because I know I'm running out of time. I'm running out of time with my kids. I'm running out of time doing comedy. I'm only going to get one chance at this, and that's kind of what my fuel is right now.
Yeah. Do you like that? Would you consider that like that realization of like you have limited time? Like, is that good or bad?
I think it's both.
For your mindset.
Unfortunately, it's both. I would love to be poetic and say, "Oh, it's everything."
I mean, just the way it sounded, that didn't sound great. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
like, I still
not.
think you have plenty of time.
Really?
You know what I mean?
You think I could absolutely turn this ship around and become like
a
working comedian as big as James Mullinger? Or I could just be the guy who played a pretty good bass and was always in the band,
right,
but it never took off, and now he works at Walmart.
Well, I do truly think you're a really good comedian, and if you did get some powerhouse behind you, whether it be like a booking agent that works for you or yourself booking yourself across the country, or like getting yourself out there, I think it wouldn't be easy, but I think you could do it.
That means the world to me, Trevor. It really does. Thank you for saying that.
Like, I do believe that. James, he found a little bit of a cheat code. Not saying he's not a hard worker, because James is probably the hardest working comedian.
Yes, I know where you're
in
going
New Brunswick.
with this, and I
but the
agree.
whole like fish out of water, play up to the audience of this place is great. Why don't you realize this place is great? And all of the other gigs that he gets with that, the Heritage Canada, the tourism money.
Yes.
All of that.
The corporates.
Public,
He's done a lot of corporates in the last little bit.
Yep. That is just really good marketing and really
He actually
good.
told Julie that he was really looking forward to coming back to the club, because he has done so many corporate gigs where he had to be sort of color between the lines. If I'm doing the coloring book analogy, he's coloring in the lines. He likes to color a little bit outside of the lines. He likes to be a little more energetic, a little more brash, a little more...
I've seen the side of James that I know James likes to show.
Because he has a dark sense of humor as well. People don't know that. But when he's around us at the club, he's not that polished promotion tool, like that producer guy.
Right.
He's actually he's just a great comic.
Yeah.
And it's so amazing to see and so inspiring, because I would like to think of him as some sellout or something, but actually he's quite the opposite. And it's so heartfelt and so sincere. Like, when I hang out with James, I can tell he's sincerely happy to see me, which you wouldn't think someone that successful would be like, it's just that comic again. But he's really actually not what I thought he was. And I actually, when I had him on my podcast, I took him to task. And
I know you did. I listened.
I said to him, listen, straight up, why aren't you booking me? Like, why wouldn't you want to work with all this stuff? And he's just like, you never ask me. Like, I would love to work with you,
And that's the thing I learned from that episode.
Oh my God, like, I can't believe that all this time I thought James didn't like me, but here it was. He loves me. He wants me to do well. He wants everyone to do well, genuinely.
Well, that was the biggest takeaway I had from that podcast was that, you know, the Harbor Station didn't call James Mullinger. The Imperial Theater didn't call James
Epic
Mullinger.
words, right?
Capitol Theater didn't call James Mullinger. You know, Kingston Festival.
It gives me goosebumps, man.
To get your shit to, like, that's the thing. The festival I just booked in July, the Evolve Festival, they didn't ask me. You know,
Awesome.
I had to,
Awesome.
you know, it's a gig I've had in the past, but it kind of goes back to that Elliot Chang. I sent a message. I said, hey, are you guys interested in comedy again this year? I know other comedians who have sent that same email and get no response, but because I've done the gig in the past, it went well. They said, hey, you know what? We want to do that show again. Do you have a headliner in mind?
Awesome.
And I recommended Scott Belford, and him and I are going to do we're going to do a show together at the festival.
That's exciting, man. And Scott's great.
Yeah, well, he'll do great with that audience too. He's gonna do perfect. Like
he's the white Elliot Chang, man. He really is. Because he just works furiously.
Yeah,
he's always checking in with us at Chuckles, and he's always inviting me to shows. He's always booking his own stuff. He's absolutely inspirational, and he's a friend of mine, and I do consider him a friend. Hi, Scott. But it's cool to meet people like that, you know.
Well, it's cool when you just have like a gig in mind and you think of like who would be a good comic for that. You know what I mean?
Exactly what I was thinking for
like
the Best in New Brunswick Comedy Tour. And as I've said before, like
if the local motorcycle club in Fredericton wanted to get a comedy show together, you know, I think Mark Splood would do awesome headlining that gig.
I think you should reach out to them, and he really would have to reach. He's just a little guy. No, I'm just joking.
What do you need, a ladder? Did you say you need a ladder?
I don't think we recorded that.
No, we
part.
didn't. No, it was a callback to a non-existing joke for the audience.
Okay, so like we're all huddled in the alley. We're passing a joint around, and we're talking about midget porn.
The joint's done. We're riffing. We're all stoned.
We're just comics. We're just riffing. And all of a sudden, like, we're talking about midget porn and how crazy it looks because they're small people fucking and it's not right and it's weird. And Buddy's talking about camera angles.
That's not even relevant to the story, though.
I like to go off on irrelevant tangents.
Sure.
It's my main thing. Okay, so anyway, then a little man, there's no other way to describe him, comes up. And
he goes,
he goes, you got a lighter? And I'm like, did you just say, do you got a ladder? And, like, everyone starts looking at me like almost ready to burst out laughing.
I had to walk away. I laughed because it was the funniest roast joke I've heard because it was so quick that I was like, oh, this is Shane in, like, post-show. Like, he's laser focused right now. Like, he literally, like, heard something, saw this, and so, did you say you need a ladder? And, like, you roasted him. But after, you're like, no, I heard... Do you guys have a ladder? Like,
I literally thought the short man said, do you guys have a ladder? And I was being so genuine. I'm like, there's no way you just said that, dude.
And it came across so...
Do you think he walked away feeling good or
No,
feeling bad?
they were... I know those guys. They were fine.
They were cool.
Oh, absolutely.
They were saying, you guys are hilarious.
Even if it was, like, a roast joke, I mean, he's got to take it. Like, a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like...
I was just like, oh, shit. Like, are you actually, like... Because I really thought he asked me for a ladder, and it was just like, are you fucking with me right now? Because we were all just talking about midget porn.
Right.
And I explained that to him.
I guess that kind of...
Yeah, I was laughing my head off. I'm like, you're fucking with me. I thought it was like, you know, one of your friends in a setup and all that, right? So I'm just like, wow, I can't believe it. But what a great time I had, and I always have a good time when we hang out, man.
Did you have a good time at the show tonight? What are your honest opinions about the show?
I did. I had a great time. I love the crowd, even though there wasn't that many people. Yeah. I think somebody said, 16 people or something? 14?
About the same amount as the Matt Richardson show.
But that's still twice the size of the average Toronto open mic.
Yeah.
So I had fun tonight.
Yeah.
I can't complain. I love this place. I really do. I wish that I could dip into those New York and LA clubs and do that thing.
Sure.
But I'm quite happy here. I think that people laugh just as hard here and probably harder than they do in LA.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
People laugh.
Yeah,
everywhere.
they're like us. Like, they live in the same place. You know, you go, you poke fun about things. And they're like I talked to a couple people after the show, and they were genuinely like, yeah, we listened to the podcast, like we've seen you before when when Troy used to do the shows at the Delta, like all this stuff, right? I was like, oh, cool. And did you
They've seen you before?
Yeah, and I asked them, I said, did you think I had new material? She's like, well, we only recognize like one or two things. And I was like, oh, thank God,
yeah.
you know? Like I am coming up with new chunks.
You
and
are.
I'm really happy about that.
Yeah, like there was only like a little bit. To be honest, I actually went out for a smoke once I heard a bit that I recognized. And that wasn't until the very end, because I actually had to put out my cigarette and go back in because Glenn already brought up Mark. So that shows you how quick of like, you just shoehorned an old bit in at the end.
Just to close it off.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know how to end.
Yeah.
But there's so much crazy manic energy, and
there was.
Like
There's a lot of it.
Like
has that been a big element lately in your sets?
Well, my bits are like, you know, the wedding ring thing was written, dog coat was written. What else was there? There's other bits. I'll think of them as I go. But the one new one that I had in the back of my mind was the one I earlier mentioned, where I don't know if I mentioned it on the pod yet, because I don't know at what point you started recording. But
don't worry about it.
Whatever. And so Trevor, within
See?
earshot. See,
Yeah.
I'm getting it. You can't teach an old dog no tracks. So then I was on stage and I did that joke about the driving to my daughter's school and the teacher asking me if I was looking for anyone in particular, and I was just thinking, nope, just looking. And I love that joke, and it was new, and it got a pop, it got a laugh. Everything else was just kind of like my honest fear of the world ending. Like, I'm scared. I don't know.
Oh,
if
you could
other
tell
people...
when you were going on that, like, we've got 50 years people. Like, if you've got a 10-year-old, they're not going to say that. You know, like, you're just like, and I'm like, I'm in the back of the room just losing it.
That's why, but I think the urgency needs to be there. Like, I don't know if you saw the YouTube clip of Bill Nye just finally snapping, torching the earth.
Yeah.
David Suzuki is the real non-funny version of that. David Suzuki.
Oh, I know who David Suzuki is.
Has been yelling for years that we need to change. So now it's the end of times, and I really feel a lot of passion behind my view of the impending apocalypse. So, like, I've turned into either a prophet or a nut job. You decide. Because I can't. I don't know what I am, but I know that that's how I feel. I fear the world is ending.
Yeah.
And so a good byproduct of that is I'm having the time of my life. I can't wait to get out there and face the day now, because I know that I should enjoy it, man, because life is precious.
Yep.
You know? So I think that's, and that, you know, I feel like you're that way a bit. Like, I feel like you appreciate life.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I sure do, man. I don't know. I honestly, like, I do take into consideration when, you know, the scientists say, you know, we've got 10 years to, you know, really fucking rearrange what we're doing. Yeah, exactly.
Boot socks? Anyway.
Boot straps? Straps of your boots?
Yep. Pull them up.
You know, I do believe in that. And, like, I do actually, there are times where I think, like, holy shit, what type of environment is my brand new kid going to have, you know, when I'm 50, when I'm 60, if I make it there? You know what I mean? Which, hopefully. Yeah, it's, that is a, but I don't know. I don't get caught up in, like, the doom and gloom of it all, of like, oh, this is ending and this is bad.
That's really good. So you're in the Elon Musk camp, where you're like, there is a way, we'll find a way, we're humans. You know, you have an optimistic outlook.
Sure.
Okay. That's really good.
I do try to have an optimistic.
I'm trying to see things more that way.
Yeah.
It's not working that well at this point, but I am hoping people like you inspire me that go, it's not, like Now Sagan was that way. He was like, I don't know. It might not end. You know, like, we're pretty smart.
Right.
You know, and I think that's kind of true.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen fucking videos of fucking fungus that eats plastic and microplastic. So, like, let's just fucking grow a bunch of mushrooms on this garbage island. You know what I mean? That eats this plastic. And then, you know, I think there's going to be, you know, some smart ideas. There's
There have been like
is it
people
pretty
like
bad
Einstein.
times? Like, you know,
Yeah.
like, are
Smart
we,
people.
you know, are we fucking self-obsessed with phones and technology? Yeah, we probably are. And, you know, that's just the reality of it. That's the world that we've put ourselves in.
Exactly.
You know, as much as I don't like to be on my phone, I'm on my phone a ton because it seems like there's a ton of cool stuff on there. I can read the book that I want to read right now. I can play a game of pool if I want to. I can
That's
fucking
pretty cool. Do
talk
you play mobile pool?
I do.
I have that app too.
8-ball pool.
Yeah, that's
the
what I
mini
play.
Clip one. Yeah.
Oh, mini clip. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, no, I
play 9-ball.
I love 9-ball. Yeah,
Me too.
Me and my dad.
You better hit that yellow ball first.
Yeah,
and
you
not
better
the
hit
striped one.
You better
'cause
hit the lowest
You hit
ball
that
first.
striped one out of the gate.
Ball in hand,
as long
anywhere.
as you hit the yellow one first.
Yeah.
That striped yellow one. If you hit that and it goes in the pocket, you fucking win instantly. You look like a rock star. You ever do that? Right off the break?
In person, I've done that.
Oh
yeah.
Shit.
Man, I love playing pool in person or on my phone. This will be my second Father's Day this year because this episode will be coinciding like leading up to Father's Day, so it's kind of fitting to where we are.
Yeah.
Me and my dad actually.
Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, early Father's Day to you too, man.
Thanks, bro.
It's nice to say that and have children. Me and my dad, we get together and we have like a pool tournament where we do a race to 7, like first to 7 wins.
Nice.
And we play 2 games of 8-ball, 2 games of 9-ball, 2 games of 10-ball, and we rotate until we have a winner.
Nice. So that's how you and your dad bond.
We'll have our second.
Nice that you spend time together.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
God damn it! Happy Father's Day.
Yeah, man. I'm
great.
excited. And I play pool on my phone. And actually, not my first ever girlfriend, because I had a girlfriend before that, but way back in the day, the first girl that I ever, the girl that I lost my virginity to, I met her online in a Yahoo pool. It used to be a game. Some people are like, "Oh, I remember Yahoo pool," but dude, this is
nobody
like,
remembers
we're
Yahoo
talking,
pool.
No, there are. I have listeners on my podcast that would say otherwise.
Oh my god, that was a perfect Birchwood episode.
But I'm playing this Yahoo pool. Like we're talking back in 2002, 2001. They would have chat rooms and like people would
remember
have
chat
leagues
rooms.
and you know
Legit.
It would be a chat room.
Was there like a Hotmail, MSN Messenger?
There used to be MSN Messenger.
I
There used to
remember
be
that
have
shit.
Yahoo chats. They had
Yep.
ICQ chats.
Yep.
But the game that I loved to play was Yahoo Pool. And it was like a giant chat room. And then if you opened up your table, you had like a private chat room, like just
Nice.
between you and this person.
Right.
So one day I'm playing this person, and back in the day, we don't do this anymore with online communication. Excuse me. But you remember back in the day going ASL?
No, I don't remember ASL.
See, we used to drop ASL, age, sex, location, right?
Right.
Just so,
Oh yeah, okay.
just so you kind of know, like, who am I talking
I
to?
do know. I do remember that.
You know what I mean? ASL.
Right, exactly.
And then one time I'm talking to this girl, and I don't know. It says XO Sweetie something, right, on her.
yeah.
And I go ASL, and she goes, whatever age. Like I'm 13 at the time too, so there's nothing wrong with this. But
Right.
she's like 13F St. John, and she spelt it like SAINT. And I'm like, St. John, like in New Brunswick? And she's like, yeah, ha ha ha. I'm like, oh, I'm in Fredericton, ha ha ha. I'm 13 too. And dude, we chatted for like 5 years. And then
That's
eventually
awesome.
I took a bus and I fucked that bitch in a seedy motel.
You were such a great guy until you said that. I was like, oh man, that's awesome. You talked to that girl for 5 years. You were her friend. What a nice story. And then you're like, I fucked that bitch raw. I'm like, oh my God.
No, we were in love at the time.
Oh baby, I like it raw. Oh baby, I like it raw. Oh baby, I like it raw. Who are we
We
singing
definitely,
right now?
Oh,
Dirty?
Yeah. We
Elderly dirty.
we definitely raw dogged it a few times. We were together for like a couple of years.
Definitely.
But I took a bus
raw
often.
dogged it a few times.
I took a bus
Singing, man.
often. Like I would work at a call center, and I'd work a shitty shift at a call center, like 5 days on, And then on my
Ew.
weekends, I would literally just go to the bus station and take the bus to St. John and fuck for 2 days. Like we like she was going to hair school at the time.
That's the first time you found out fucking was good.
Oh,
You were
dude.
like,
I was addicted.
I am all about fucking.
Dude, I would fuck until my dick hurt. Like,
Why does my dick hurt? Oh, yeah. It's all that fucking I've
it
been
would
doing.
look like a red doggy's dick. Like, you know, like a little lipstick.
I
at the
have
end of
seen
it.
my dog's lipstick, and I'm like, dude, why is it so red?
Yeah. No, I
know
like.
why now.
Yeah.
I know why Dick's dogs be red.
Because they rub it on stuff? Or what?
Because they're fucking all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, dogs like to fuck. That's for sure. And
No,
you know,
I mean, it's just a
I
crazy...
remember those days. The first teenage experience, sexually, is just like, man, like when I was fucking the first people I was fucking, and for the first time, and the second time, and even the 50th time, I was like, man, this is great. Like, fucking's got to be the best thing ever.
I still love it.
Now, easing into my 40s.
Yeah.
And staring down the barrel of 50, I go to myself, I go, wow, I'm going to have a fucking cardiac arrest from all this Arby's. But first, I might fuck, but I'd rather sleep. That is the magic of getting old. It's just like, I would rather have a cheeseburger and sleep on the couch than fuck right now. Like, what is wrong with me? Then it's this mental battle. I'm seeing the same shit you're seeing. This is
I'm like, do they want to pay for parking?
I don't know what's going on, man.
Oh, they're taking. This is nice. They're taking a picture in front of the legislature.
Why did I do that?
Or if your parents are looking for you.
Jesus, man. Big words. You listen to your mom's house?
Yeah, sometimes not as much.
Whenever someone says something mildly racist, they have this button they press. It's like big words.
Big words.
Yeah, but no, but I thought literally like I was seeing people mulling around, and I was like, oh shit!
I thought they were going to pay
some kind
for
of wedding
parking
party
at,
or
something.
like.
I thought they were going to pay for parking at 11 o'clock at night. I'm like, man, you got disposable
But it's
income.
crazy. No, look,
And now
those
they're-
are people that are filled with gratitude to be in this country.
Yes.
And then they're like taking a picture in front of a Parliament building in Fredericton, New Brunswick. Okay,
And it's
Fredericton is
way
the capital
past that
city.
child's, way
of a
past
province.
that child's bedtime, by the way.
That's true, but they might be on their clock from wherever they're from.
Oh,
right?
sure.
You know what I'm saying? But they have so much pride in this country. They're standing in front of a legislature building in a province in Canada. Versus, like, I remember being in Ottawa.
What the fuck? Why won't these fucking lights get the fuck out of here?
You better cut this out of the podcast.
I do this shit, man.
Oh my
You're
God.
allowed to do voices. What the? Where does everyone think voices now are racist because they come from a fucking white guy?
Ask them about the guy.
I didn't
the
say
guy at
any, I didn't
Simpsons.
say
Remember
anything
Simpsons,
racist.
Abu?
I just said they're
Do you remember-
confused about
do you-
their lights
Do you
being on.
remember Abu?
Yes,
Yeah.
Apu.
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 You see?
Apu.
I
Thank
don't
you.
even
Come
know.
again.
Yeah,
Right? Like,
exactly.
people eventually got
is
upset about
racist.
that.
Yeah. However,
But he
here's the
supported
thing, man.
his family of 7.
Yeah, you know.
He had a business.
And what's his name? Hank
Williams?
Azaria, or-
Azaria.
Is that right?
Hank Williams. Hank Williams.
No, but it seems to me like he was like
Hank Azaria.
Yeah, he was Hispanic, I think, or something.
Sure.
Like he was also from immigrants. Like it wasn't.
I was just showcasing my vocal range of like I've done Asian now. I'm trying to get voice work. All right.
Do you do like English?
No, not really.
Or Irish?
Oh, I'm not good on like impressions on command. Like
Right,
type being
right.
like Irish. Be like,
I only do one
Conor
impression.
McGregor, and I'll fucking where are you from?
I only do one impression, and it's Norm Macdonald.
Oh, I want to hear it. I've had breakfast with Norm. Another interesting.
I
thing
know,
I've
and
done.
I look. I will be forever jealous because I
Oh,
can
man,
only
it's the
imagine him
best.
staring across
It
you
was a
going,
fucking
"Are
best.
you gonna eat all them eggs? Yeah, doctor said eggs will explode your heart. Yeah, your heart is, one of those things you want to keep ticking, you know? I know I'm not doing it very
No,
well.
it was good. There were still elements of Shane in there.
I think,
but that was good, Norm.
I think the way to describe a good Norm impression, which obviously I can't do, is to try and start a car that's flooded. You're like, hey, you're trying to overturn the engine, right? So you're trying to get that Norm impression going. But I remember one of the first jokes.
He's not taking any of these pictures with flash either, by the way. Like he must have
It's in the
new
dark.
night sight.
It's so weird.
Night sight.
Yeah, what the fuck is going on?
What the fuck is with this one?
Maybe they got like a flashless flash camera.
RF.
Oh my
The
god,
flash on
you're
my
so
phone.
racist.
The flash on my phone will not work.
That is awful.
I'm not racist.
I'm just joking. I know you're not. I'm just joking. What were we talking about? Flashless flash camera, and before that, we were talking about.
Norm Macdonald starting a
yeah.
flooded car.
Yeah, Norm. I love Norm. Did you see his special?
Oh, Hitler Dog or whatever that one.
Hitler's Dog and Other Trickery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I read his book. His book was good.
And you met him.
And I met him.
What a gift.
Yeah, that was cool. That was just over here at the Playhouse. The funny thing about that was, normally, no pun intended.
Normally. Ooh, that would be a good title for one of his side projects.
Yeah.
Call it Normally. Ooh,
Yeah.
that'd be a good stand-up special title.
Normally, I get like super excited for things. Like if I
Yeah.
get tickets, it never falls out of my mind or anything like that.
Right.
But one time, man, I found out Norm was going to the Playhouse. This was many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Around when I was starting, like maybe 1 or 2 years into doing stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
So I got tickets right away, like the day they went on sale. And that was probably like 9 months before the show,
Yes.
right? They do them super in advance. And I literally forgot
Nice accent.
that the show was even going to happen. And they sent me an email saying, don't forget Norm Macdonald tonight. You have 2 tickets because, you give them your email or whatever.
Right.
And I literally forgot that the
I like the
event
first
was
one better.
tonight. Literally.
Oh, that was good.
Yeah, it's not bad. So I'm like, holy fuck, Norm Macdonald tonight. I've got second row tickets.
Nice.
John Bailey is like off the aisle. He got the seats like over here. We have a good time, but I have to go to work right after. So I go check in at the hotel. I'm working the overnight shift. That's what I'm doing. Night in and night out. Partially probably why I forgot about the show, because it was just such a grind at the time.
Right.
Working the graveyard work. And then I go and I'm like in my suit, like getting, the down low of how the night's going to go. Like, it's going to be a quiet night or whatever, right? And then they just tell me, Norm Macdonald's in the bar. He's going to be over requesting a wake-up call or whatever. I said, cool. Train, like, don't be starstruck. They just want to be treated as people in a hotel, right? And he walked over to the front desk, and all I said was just, he was like, in the Norm cadence, can I get a wake-up call at 5 o'clock?
Can I get a wake-up call at 5 a.m.?
Yeah, exactly. And
one of them phones?
Are you going to call me, or is a computer going to call me?
Hey, computer calling me, or are you calling me?
So, yeah. And all I said was just like, 5 o'clock or whatever time it was. It was early. I remember it was really early. It was still while my shift was going on. And I just said to him before he left, I was just like, good show tonight, man. And he was like, what? Like, you're at the show and now you're working? Like, that seems impossible, right? And you know how Norm would just be like, you were at the show, but now you're here at work.
He is how he seems in real life.
Yeah, and I was just like, no, like, I went to your show, and I've been looking forward to it for really, like, since I got tickets. I was second row. I would have got first row if I could have, but, I couldn't get them. And, oh, man, that's awesome. That's wicked. Thanks. And then I think he asked me, like, I don't even think I shoehorned it in there. He's
you want
like,
to go breakfast?
No, that wasn't even on the table yet. I had to go up and watch him masturbate for half an hour.
Every Friday, I get a length of sausage.
No, I think he asked me.
Are you eating eggs in the morning at 7:30 a.m.? That's when I'm planning on doing that. And
I think he asked me, like, he was like, do you do stand-up or something? Because I don't think I shoehorned it, but he wouldn't just be like some savant that thinks I do stand-up. But somehow we get on the topic of, like, the Fredericton comedy scene. And or he might ask me if I go to a lot of shows, and then I say, oh, I do stand-up. Maybe that's how we got onto it. But anyways, business is normal. Normal, no pun intended.
I actually tisked when you made that joke. I was like, tss.
The night goes on. I like work my shift, and then he's down.
So the night continued forward as normal.
Yeah.
Nice.
Normally. And I'm about to leave, and then he's down in the lobby, like, asking me what time breakfast opens, and I'm like, the restaurant opens at 7. This was like something quarter to 6. He was down early in the lobby, and I was like, but you can get breakfast up to your room at 6:30. The room attendant will bring it up. And he's like, oh, no, I'll go to the restaurant. I was wondering, kid, do you want to, like, are you off at 7? And I was like, yeah. He's like, do you want to join me for breakfast? And man, I was like,
that's insane.
I didn't even know. I was like, of course, you can't say no to that, right? Like,
oh my God,
dude. And at the time, actually, I was flat broke. Like, I literally couldn't pay.
No.
Like, I literally couldn't pay for my breakfast buffet. But I was a manager at the hotel, so there's technically an account that I could just take the check and just be like, oh, account this, Trevor Muxworthy, and sign off on it. And worst case scenario, pay for it later. Or in my mind, I'm a fucking manager at the hotel. Feed me a meal every once in a while after my shift, right? I'm entertaining one of our guests who clearly
high profile guest. This is a terrible time for me to tell you this, but I have got to take a leak.
So we got to start the car and go somewhere?
Well, either that or
I dare you to piss within 50 feet of the legislature. Right? You can't
Dude,
do that.
There's cameras all over this fucker.
You just said on stage,
I'm the guy that walks far away.
Piss on one of these things right here.
I'm not pissed. I'm
Do
not.
you know-
I'm not
do you
doing
know-
public
Bro,
urination.
Look at these. All these pillars cost the taxpayers of New Brunswick $480,000.
I'm not going to make a political statement with
your
my
piss?
urine. Although that would be amazing. I would love to see somebody do that, and I get what you're saying, but I can't do that.
All right. The podcast is going to be bad while
This
I'm
was
driving.
part 1,
Sure.
and then the next part will be part 2.
I guess we can do it that way.
Or we could continuously keep this going, but I think
No, we're
it
going to
would-
keep this going. Or I'm going to...
You're going to keep recording
Yes.
while we're going, while we're driving.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I just
Yeah,
got to ask
I
you...
need- yeah.
1 second here. 4. What is that?
Not locking, unlocking.
That should be it right there. Okay.
Nice.
Oh, that's my kid. He's,
That's Kendrick?
yeah.
Oh my God, he's beautiful, man.
Yeah,
He's a good-looking kid.
Yeah. What do we got for songs that are going to play on your podcast?
I have no idea.
I got them right here. I've already programmed the
sweet.
songs.
How do you choose them?
I randomize it multiple times.
Nice. And these are all Canadian songs.
Oh, most of these people are actually from Fredericton.
Nice.
One's from Australia, St. John, Fredericton, St. John.
Cool.
Moncton,
The Crooked
Winnipeg.
Teeth.
Jamie COMEAU and the Crooked Teeth.
Cool.
A song called Tall Pine. My grandfather's dying wish actually was to be buried under a tall pine. I feel a weird synchronicity of this randomization of the song titles that come out. This is truly random. Like
That's
I
awesome.
don't handpick that.
No,
and
but
like
that's so
it
cool.
seems like every song there's a weird with your
Connection to
life. Yeah.
Wow.
So
I know
see
how
shit
music
like
can
that,
make you feel that way.
Oh yeah. And I mean the song I don't think has anything to do about being buried under a tall pine, but it's just knowing that as my grandfather was in his 70s going, the only thing I want is to be under a tall pine when I'm dead. I'm just like, holy fuck, man, he got it though. I can go visit him under a tall pine.
Right, okay. Well, at least he didn't
Hey.
want very much, you know?
Yeah. And
Okay. I
he
got
had
a
it-
shovel.
he had his funeral taken care of. So where should we go? Where do you like to go when you have to piss and you're in public, Shane? I feel like
I think gas stations are great
Gas
places
stations?
to piss.
all right, we can hit that.
And thank you to
Oh,
Irving.
listen to that.
Thank you to Irving for
Oh.
owning the province of New
Yeah.
Brunswick and making. I've pissed in almost every Irving in the province of
Yeah?
New Brunswick. Yeah, that was a political statement.
I eventually did get in trouble, though. My manager was like, Trevor, we see you signed off on a breakfast here. And it wasn't, you didn't have a meeting with an employee that day, and that's the only time you can use a staff account. So I was just like, oh, you're going to make a big deal about that? Then take it out of my paycheck, next pay. That's what I said. But I ended up quitting there. Because then that place...
It's good that you spoke to them that way, though, because then you establish your dominance. You're like,
I'm just like, man, like it just
if
felt
you
so.
don't agree with
Dude,
it, then
I was in the accounting department. I was doing like front desk overnight accounting. I saw how much money was wasted. What the fuck?
I just want to let the listeners know that
This
we
is
both
new.
have
this
these
all-
microphones.
yeah.
They're big fuzzy microphones.
Well, they're like
And-
stand-up comedy microphones.
Yes, 80s stand-up comedy microphones.
Well, I mean, it's a real microphone.
I love it.
It's
I
a
love
pop
it.
filter. It's so you're.
That's great. It's the equipment you need to do a professional recording. But it's funny, two dudes driving down the street in a minivan with microphones. I think that's awesome.
Well, normally we'd be part of like a police force if that was the case.
Oh my gosh. This is the Fredericton Police.
This right here, the Abbey. That's where an open mic is.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I've heard that. I've
Yeah.
heard about the Abbey. Yeah, cool. Have you been on the show?
No, it was on Wednesdays, and Wednesdays were a day that were not good for me.
Okay, cool. I mean, not cool.
I mean, not
Like,
cool,
yeah.
but hey, it's
It's good
fine.
that it exists. It's
yeah.
an option.
Yeah,
you
and
know?
it's bi-weekly. It's twice a month.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, this is fun.
Sabrina
I love catching
Harnish,
up with you, man.
Sabrina Harnish runs that open mic. She's really nice.
Yeah.
and
She's been
good.
on some of our shows, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done shows with her. I don't know if she's been at Chuckles or
She's
not.
a hashtag stand-up mom. This is our police department.
Nice.
This is normally where I park when I perform at Wilzer's.
Oh, okay.
I just circle around, park there.
I thought you were going to say you park outside the police station and masturbating, making eye contact. Smoking meth and throwing fire extinguishers at the
Sebe and I talked about meth on the last podcast because I've been hearing that like meth is a huge problem in New Brunswick right now. But like
Really?
I don't see it because obviously my world is so small. My circle
You're not
is
hanging
like...
out in them meth circles? Yeah, no, I've heard that too. Meth is making an unfortunate presence.
Have you done mushrooms ever, Shane?
No.
No?
No. And I'm not...
You should, man.
I'm not against it, but on the other hand, I'm super uncomfortable with where it might take me.
I tell myself sometimes that it happens as it should. Comforting words to hide behind. You used to look down on the songs they were right, but you wrote one. The look in your eyes as you walk down the stairs. 15 minutes to go. I drove 2 hours just to cry on stage. You thought that you were kind. It didn't take you long, and you had to turn back just to explain yourself. Meanwhile, I've broken this down in grass in the garden that you dug.
Some weird Wayne's World.
What were we saying?
Doodle-doo,
Later?
doodle-doo. Remember when
Later,
Wayne's
later.
World would do that? Later, later, later. It's kind of like, this is part 2, it's later, and we're chanting later, later. So here we are, part 2. Hi, it's the Mayor of Comedy, and you're listening to a motorcycle drive by. You inconsiderate son of a bitch. I was just about to do the greatest podcast commercial of all time when a
Ruined.
Yamaha ruined it.
Yeah. Not even driving a hog, you pussy.
You can hear hilarious and wonderful stuff like that on whatever, Trevor.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. No, that's not good. Okay, here we go. One more time. Hi, it's the Mayor of Comedy, and you're listening to whatever, Trevor.
That's good. That's just
That's
a
pretty
good. Yeah.
Hi, I'm the Mayor of Comedy, and you're
So,
listening to whatever, Trevor.
It's episode 12.
This is I'm the baker's dozen. No, that would be 6.
No, you're the last egg in the carton.
12. Wow. I'm the last egg in the carton.
Yeah.
That is really something I've never heard before. I love to be described that way. I'm the last egg in the carton, baby.
Well, technically that would be 1, wouldn't it? You're the
First?
You're the full pack.
I'm the full...
You're the full pack of chicken eggs, baby.
At least I'm something.
I love eggs. Do you like eggs?
I actually do, man.
Norm, actually, just because we're here at the Delta, actually, right now.
Right.
We changed locations from the legislature. Norm, he ate a 10-egg white omelet. 10 egg whites, only egg whites.
He loves egg.
And
that's why he says, I have an egg. He says that in one of his stand-up specials. Yeah.
And he actually did kind of a bit that I heard in Fredericton on that special. And it was true because he had a 10-egg white omelet with just mushrooms and onions. That's it.
Wow. No yolk.
And the big drama was his flight from Fredericton got canceled to St. John's, and he had to perform that night. And then, so I'm on, we're eating breakfast buffet. He's having his omelet. And he gets his tour manager to come down, and they're looking at options to go to St. John, fly out of St. John last minute, and St. John, everything's canceled to St. John's. And then the only thing that looked like was going to be a possibility was
Toronto.
No, flying from Fredericton or flying from Halifax to St. John's, but it was literally going to be razor close getting to the airport in time.
Or this
that's
show
even
is
doing
fucked.
Doing 120. You know what I mean? 120, 130 the whole way.
So he had to eat that egg fast. Or did he take it with
he
him?
was still pretty laid back, and
yeah, he's like,
I might
show,
actually,
no show.
I actually might have came across a tiny little bit creepy because I was just well, if you need to go right now, I can drive you.
That's not. That's
I was
more than a tiny bit.
I was like, don't worry about renting a car or one-waying your car to Halifax. I was like, I will get us there. You just refund me if I get a speeding ticket doing 160, we'll get there. We'll go right now.
What did he say?
I can't remember. No, he was.
Just stick with the plane and whatnot.
Really, you watching me jerk off for 30 minutes last night was enough.
Oh my God. That's amazing. I can't believe you met my hero, Norm Macdonald.
It was...
Peter Anthony met him, too. Did I ever tell you that story?
No.
That's a good one. He went to L.A. I believe it was Peter, his sister, and his mother. And I'm not sure if his father went or not. But I know it was... what's going on?
Just talking to the phone part. You're like...
I'll get closer.
Here.
Oh, sorry.
No, you're good.
I started to do I forget which comedian holds the mic way away from them. Matt Richardson.
Yeah.
Drives me nuts. I'm like, people can hear you better, dude, if you just pull that up a bit. But he's got this style and this. He does very well. He doesn't need my help.
And
but,
he loves just resting it.
I know. I'm like, it's too far away. And our DJ at Chuckles is always like, tell him to eat the mic a little more. And I'm like, I can't tell him that, man. Just turn up your levels. Stop being so lazy.
Monitor it a little bit.
Yeah, he doesn't like to change. He does not like change.
What's his name?
Hazen Ducey.
Hazen. It is
Hazen. And he doesn't like being pointed out either. One time I was like, yeah, it's DJ Hazen Ducey. And he was like, can I talk to you for a minute? He's like, I don't really like to be pointed out.
It's actually DJ Wet Panties. Bitch.
And then he starts scratching behind his back.
Yeah.
DJs don't scratch anymore, do they?
Some do. I saw Grandmaster Flash
Wiki.
in my day. I've seen Grandmaster Flash.
Wow.
Which was cool. Very cool.
I bet.
Even though we were in Antigonish, Nova Scotia, so you would know the difference, right? And he gets up there and he's like, what is going on, Halifax? We're at a camping festival 2 hours east.
So he looks so dumb.
He just looked at his fucking
Did they laugh?
ticket, right? No, everyone. He said it over and over, get your hands up, Halifax.
So he was doing the physical work of an old school DJ, killing it.
Oh man,
killing it,
dude. It was it was a Grandmaster set,
Grandmaster, cut faster.
It was so fucking cool, man. Some people thought that was.
I love that shit in the early '80s, breakdance shit.
Oh yeah,
and he was the god of that. Yeah,
yeah. I mean, being able to
he's a legend.
Being able to check him off on the
amazing. Man, you've done way more things than me. I know. I floated down the Nashwauk River. I don't want to brag.
That's what I live on. I live on the Nashwauk.
Well, did you know that Leishi, my Leishi, she told me she loved me for the first time rafting down that river.
Wow.
And that was 3 years ago. and now she's the stepmother to my children. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, man.
I live on that river. It's a river of love. I've fucked in that river.
Oh. You didn't need to tell me that. Yeah, my lady, my other half, my soulmate, told me she loved me for the very first time on the river that you dumped a load in. Come on, Trevor. That's what the show should be called. Come on, Trevor. God, leave your jizz in my love pool.
Of ugly dudes. Come on, Trevor.
Come on, Trevor. Stop. That's awesome.
No, I'm pretty sure I dumped the load in her though, not in the river.
Is that how babies are made?
Yeah.
Nice. I didn't know
I
that.
actually had a bit. Well, I still have a bit. It's not that it's retired or anything. I have no bit that is retired. I still tell jokes the very first set that I went on. There's still some go-tos.
Nice.
That have not. I mean, of course, there have been some sets that I don't say those jokes.
Yeah.
But there are still...
Like tonight I didn't do hashtag or what if Facebook stopped, like all those things that I'm known for.
I thought you were going to Facebook friend some of the bearded guy or one of those guys in the front row.
No, I was, look, I'm trying to be
I was
different.
happy. I was happy that you didn't.
Like, do you genuinely
I don't
see
care.
someone trying to change?
What do you mean?
Like, do you see me as
oh sure, as someone
being
trying
creative and like not
yeah
resting on my laurels completely?
Yeah, but I don't get too hung up on if you didn't, like, if you were still, like, you know, if you did the same material that I knew you were doing at like the Christmas parties 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah,
I wouldn't hold that against you.
Like, I got to hold that against myself.
I know there are some
I got to have
people...
some standard, you know, and Splood inspires me in that way. Like, you know how we're all like kind of connected for a reason. I believe Splood's entry into my world has been positive in the way that he holds himself so accountable and is such an inspiration that way that I'm like, man, if that guy can drop a new 20 minutes every 6 months, why the fuck can't I riff at an open mic in Fredericton? Not that this was an open mic, but it was like the pressure was a bit off. There wasn't hundreds and hundreds of people. You
wasn't
know,
a
like
sold out show.
So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stretch my legs. Hey, Splood, can you headline? Yeah, man. Okay, I'm gonna fucking try tonight.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I was so proud of it. You know.
Yeah.
And that it worked out was a bonus. And some of that can be blamed on my experience, but some of it was a risk tonight. And that's what was so scary for me, was just taking that leap and going, I'm going to try.
I always try to do that too, man. Like at Wilsers, like when I got back into, like, after I took the year off, I took a year off. And when I got back, I had this like written rule, like I wrote it down. Like I do a daily like journal, just daily goals thing I want to, even if it's just like do the dishes, you know.
Right.
You know.
Oh, smart.
Just, you know, something to stay on track.
Yeah, it's good.
One of the things I wrote down was if you're going on a stage that you've performed on before, you have to bring 80% new material.
That's a rule for a show?
Just for myself.
Okay.
Just like as a, you know, like it was a written rule in my head.
Right.
Like, so if I go to Wilsers, I've performed at Wilsers literally over 100 times. Like I have a gig list of all my gigs since I've started.
Right.
I've performed at Wilsers more than 100 times.
Right.
So I said, now that I'm going back to Wilsers, every time I go on that stage, I have to do 80% new material.
That's awesome.
20% can be old
your
as old.
go-tos.
20% can be my piss smells
whatever.
like butter.
Yep.
Muxworthy, Wales, geographical reference, not a physical metaphor. You know, that can be in that 20% if I want to close it on that or if I want to open on that. But I've got to be bringing 80% new. And then when I went to Hell's Basement, I was like, oh, I've never performed on this stage before.
Yep.
It's this is a booked open mic type thing, you know, 7 for 7 or whatever they're calling this type of booked show.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, all open micers, you know, nothing. I hate if people get offended that, you know, open micer is a fine term. I consider myself an open micer. Yeah, I've done corporates, I've booked Christmas shows, but at the end of the day, I'm an open micer. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with it.
I guess I'm just thinking about what you're saying. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
I think some people would be like, oh, I'm not, you know, like I'm not an open micer, you know, like.
Oh, yeah, I
type
guess.
of thing.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
Ego or whatever.
Sure. It's a fine show. That 7 for 7 show
Like
that we did in
same
Hell's
as like
Basement was
local
awesome.
comedian, like actually doing comedy locally outside of your home, even in your front yard, is just as good as doing it anywhere else in the world if the people are enjoying the show.
Absolutely.
But we get this stigma, like the closer you are to your home, your brick and mortar, you know, you're thinking to yourself, oh, like that can't be as good. But it can be, actually, if, you know, Bill Burr did comedy in his apartment complex, it would be just as good as if it was in the Wilbur Theater or wherever else, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I still, for whatever reason, now, having said what I just said, whatever reason, I still feel like saying, oh, he's a local favorite, or there's a local comedian, it still, like, puts a negative
Sure, it's almost
tone
like a
on
backhanded
it.
compliment.
But it's not.
No.
In reality, scientifically, it's not a bad thing.
Well, you're just fucking stating the obvious. He's local to the area.
Yeah.
But what I was getting at, Hell's Basement. Hell's Basement
yep.
never performed there. So I was like, I can bring out the golden oldies, the stuff that, you know, I've been crafting that I can, you know, that I can put together.
And how did you find those shows?
Well, that one went phenomenal because, you know, I murdered.
Nice.
Like, you know, I mean, like, not to, like, blow my ego up. I did good.
Yeah.
Like, I had a good set from start to finish. And, you know, but I mean, Hell's Basement's like that. No one did bad. You know what I mean? So, like, me murdering is not, you know, any...
I don't know. I think you can take some credit.
Sure.
You know, a good room is a good room.
Yeah, I find
but that
it
only
just
gives
an
you
easy
like a 10% advantage or
sure
30% advantage, whatever number you want to assign to it. But you still did like a fair amount of what it took to make those people laugh. So you should, as uncool as it is, maybe take some pride in the fact that you're a good comedian. You know, like I have a lot of trouble with that. I was talking to my friend Vince about this. You know, right from childhood, I was taught not to brag or not to be proud, you know. It was like, you know, life is hard. There's not enough money to go around. You should be, you know, you're not, even I was told by my stepfather, you're not smart enough to go to St. John High School. You have to go to St. John Vocational School because you're not quite equipped. And he didn't mean it in a bad way. This is kind of what you get in your head. It's like, don't be proud of all your accomplishments. Just say, oh, yeah. Because people used to come up to me and they're like, man, you should have been the headliner. You were great.
Right.
And I would say like, oh, you know, that's very kind, but comedy's like music. Some people like country. Some people like rock and roll. I would give the most diplomatic answer. I could have been the United Motherfucking Nations after someone would say, you should have been the headliner. But, man, I should have been sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should have said, you know what? I am proud of that. Full stop.
Yeah,
it's okay to say that.
Absolutely. I would say something like, you know, if someone said that to me after a show, I'd just be like, I appreciate that, and like hopefully someday I am that guy.
It's not
you know
good
what I
to
mean?
lean into it either.
Yeah.
Like, you know, there's some people that we've met that are just like, yeah, I'm amazing, and what else? Why isn't anybody sucking my dick right now? You know, like that guy I definitely don't want to be, you know?
Yeah.
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 But isn't it ego-driven, the whole world of comedy? Don't you find?
Oh, I think almost any art form is. Yeah.
I
mean, like DJ world, I've, you know, now that I've started, you know, conversing with different people, hip-hop, super competitive, super ego-driven.
Yep.
You know, comedy. I'm sure the whole music world, DJs, actors, I mean, fuck, they're just pretending, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
to have an ego to be able to do that and think you're good at it and, you know, continue, huge. But I almost think like everything ego is involved in everything.
I guess so.
You know?
I guess I'm in
Why
my
do you
own
want,
little world of comedy, and
like, why do you, like, what makes people live high off the hog and in debt and have a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom house that they're just scraping by, or, you know, they can make it work.
Keeping up with the
they
Joneses.
do make it, you know.
Yeah.
Well, what's feeding that? Well, it's their ego because they want to, you know, be among equals.
Like, have you ever seen Karen's house?
Right.
Oh my God. They have an indoor heated swimming pool.
Right.
Like, oh, wow. Karen is a good person? Not necessarily. She could be a fucking monster.
Yeah.
But we're all like, wow, we all want to be Karen. But we don't really want to be Karen. Karen is like probably empty on the inside.
She might be.
You know, I would way rather be the pig farmer on the outskirts of town who liked inventing shit in his garage, you know, like
Picton, British Columbia, like a pig farmer in Picton.
I want to be just like him. I want to murder 80 prostitutes and allow pigs who will eat anything, I discovered. You know, I learned that fact listening to that news clip. You know how fucking sad that is? Like, I didn't know a pig would eat anything you put in front of it, but the first thing I learned about was it would eat a woman whole. Like, I didn't want to fucking know that.
Like their pussy, a woman whole? Or...
Oh, my God.
They started right at the pussy.
Oh.
What was his name?
That could have been true. Robert.
Was it in Picticton or in Picton, BC?
I thought it was Robert Picton.
In Penticton? Where did it happen?
No, it can't be a murder rape limerick. It can't be.
There was a big farmer in Penticton.
Robert Picton.
Robert Picton.
Oh, he'd murder women he stuck his dick in. Robert Picton in Penticton murdered women, stuck his dick in.
They were missing and murdered Indigenous women. It's so wrong.
God.
His name was Robert Picton. He was a pig
Jesus
farmer in
Christ.
Picton.
I feel like you're talking like Bert Kreischer right now.
Do you want me to do my Bert Kreischer?
I feel like I'm with Bert.
I'm so fat, Bert. No, dude, that could be a limerick though. We just need the two lines that are the B rhyme. Picton, Penticton, and missing and murdered Indigenous women, and then the two lines in the middle.
You want to make an amazing rap song about a terrible
No,
event?
just a limerick.
He was one of the biggest serial killers of all time.
Yeah.
Of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my hero Tom Segura would love to know that.
I mean, the Highway of Tears.
He probably does know that. He knows all about the murders.
Highway of Tears, the missing and murdered Indigenous women is a serious thing. It's a genocide. But this just goes to show how powerful comedy is. Like, it's funny. When something like that happens in the moment, that's funny.
The truth of it is, I was very inspired when Gord Downey took on that cause. Not just that incident, but the whole injustice of Indigenous, the way that white Anglo-Saxon Canada treated Indigenous people. And he believed that the Prime Minister was going to affect some real change. Perhaps he has, but I don't think he has. Unfortunately, Gord Downey's probably rolling in his grave that Justin Trudeau didn't, get some of those communities clean water and all the things that you hear. I mean, if there's any truth to what's being reported, it's a terrible genocide that's happened over a millennia, and it's or certainly not millennia, but the century.
I mean, women, Aboriginal women are like. There's still cases to this day of like forced sterilization. You know what I mean? Like after they're, given birth to their, however, whether it's their second child or whether it's their sixth, it doesn't matter. You can't force someone to tie their tubes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Residential schools were open until 1995.
That's
you know what I mean?
Insane to me.
Like, to think about that.
Insane.
Like, dude, I was in grade 2 when there were still residential schools.
Dude, oh my God, in 95, I would have been. That was the year I graduated high school, so I would have been 18 years old when, the last. What do you call those schools?
Residential schools.
Residential schools. My God. To think something like that existed in my lifetime, even.
Well, and like the whole 60s scoop, like you can keep going, right? Like that's the thing. You see,
yeah.
You mentioned that. And
people
60s
are
scoop.
pieces of shit in so many ways, and so many terrifying ways. And that's kind of getting back to what I was saying about the apocalypse.
Well, the British just didn't view them as equals. Right?
Not that it's the same as the apocalypse, but what I'm saying is the negativity, the negative aspect of humanity is so disheartening that it's no wonder that there's mass depression everywhere.
I'm still making this limerick in my head, by the way. Like, I'm so sorry, but it's like, something, pig and pork, You know, like that.
You
would be
should grab the
second one.
guitar and write the craziest murder comedy song ever. But I'm
There
not
once
doing it.
was a farmer named Robert, or you say where he's from, right? There once was a pig farmer.
Robert Picton from Penticton killed them women he stuck his dick in. Like,
we say you're just as bad, man.
no. No, I was just
Had
doing
a
the
taste
job
for
of a
indigenous
writer.
women.
Christ, that is so fucking terrible. There's no way that I can laugh at that. Oh my god, but I am because I'm a monster.
Yeah.
That's fucking awful. Don't write that song.
Something.
No, don't do it. Stop doing it.
Pork. Like I wanted to bring it back to the pigs, like pork.
Oh my god.
The pig.
Anyways, now people would be offended that pigs die at all.
Where was he from though? Robert Picton.
Like a
I
pig
love
farmer
dark
slaughters
stuff like
pigs,
that.
and that's.
I love dark shit
You
like
do?
that. Yeah, Bruce MacArthur. I've been following that one.
Girl, I want you back, but that's just because I'm insecure. I just wanna crack at being the man I wasn't before. Now I got a foolproof plan, and it sure won't make you sore. Gonna start a fire on Tinder, I'm the king of the manholes. I'm about sensation. I'm about sensation. Yo baby, yo baby. Gotta keep it tight, swipe it right. Gonna swipe it right with all my might. That's a lot of half, swipe it left. Yo baby, yo baby. If your heart breaks and you know you are the star of your own show, it's with the crayon video. Take center stage as the tears flow. Whoa, 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 whoa. I'm a viral sensation. She fucking nation. I'm a viral sensation. She fucking nation. Viral sensation. She fucking nation. Viral sensation. She fucking nation. If I could take back cruelty and give you wings. If I could take that phone to your forehead. She fucking nation. I'd be a viral sensation. She fucking nation. I'm a viral sensation. She fucking nation. Viral sensation. She fucking nation. Viral sensation.
The Raptors are up by a shitload right now. I don't know if you're
Holy
following that.
shit. 88-74. I'm not a sports guy, but I've been
I
fascinated.
mean, that's
with-
cool, right? I'm not a huge basketball guy
Yeah,
either,
yeah.
but the Raptors, man, like beating a dynasty. That's
Like, can we talk about Drake?
sure.
Like Drake's antics from the sidelines during this final, NBA final, is that what they call it?
Let's go back 1 second. Let's go back real quick. What do you think about his rap? Do you like him as
Drake?
an artist, or what do you think? I think he's soft.
No, I mean,
You like his music?
I do, and I did when it first started popping, I guess the kids say.
Popping and dropping.
Popping and dropping. And I still like seeing him perform. But Started from the Bottom is like so catchy. God's Plan is so catchy, you know. I mean,
it's not Penticton, but he's from Port Coquitlam, so she still kind of flows a little bit.
Oh my God, you're obsessed.
But no, it had to be in Penticton, wasn't it?
Maybe.
Murders.
What's his name?
Robert Picton.
Jesus.
Where was it?
Bringing up some bad memories.
That was a fucked up one.
Yeah. He died, or did someone kill him, or is he in jail?
Still alive.
Yeah. You know what would be great is if a bunch of indigenous women would, like, ferociously murder him in a cornfield. Just all pull apart his limbs.
What a fucked up case. But I just want to know, Port Coquitlam. But I want to see where he lived.
Oh, if they get Robert Picton to be eaten alive by pigs, that would be the ultimate revenge. Yeah. Yeah. And all the families of the victims would be, like, cheering for their favorite pig. Bite his fucking eyeballs out.
We could bet on, like, which pig would gain the most weight.
Yeah.
On how much they ate. We'd weigh the pigs before and
after. And then you're a champion pig picker. And this happens every year with a different horrible human.
Nice.
I like it.
Lord of the Flies type shit.
Yeah.
You know, I'm kind of against, like, I am against the death penalty, but a part of me wants to bring
death penalty. I'm joking. It's
part of me wants to bring it back a little bit for, like, just public spectacle.
Heard this on a
like this guy that
recently.
allegedly murdered the police and the two people here in Fredericton.
That was nuts. Was that like a year ago?
Yeah, it was actually on Emily's birthday, August 10th of last year. Like, I honestly think, like, we should publicly hang that guy.
Oh, absolutely. But the reason I'm laughing is because I just, you know, I have thoughts pop in your head. When you were describing this murder. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, I'm going to get her a cake with, like, a fucking bomb gun on it someday. I was thinking, like, you're one hell of a shot or something.
I was thinking how crazy it would be if you were from the future, if you had a time machine, you go back right in that same situation and go, hey, babe, guess what I got you for your birthday? A murdering spree. And then you turn on the television and then it's like, pow, pow. And you're like, what's happening? We're all so scared. And you're just like, hee, 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 happy birthday, baby. Like, can you fucking imagine the look on her face?
I got you a mass murder. I had to steal his meds 3 weeks ago. I've been casing the guy. I've been profiling this guy for a while.
Oh my god! Wow, this should be called Dark Thoughts, man. This podcast.
Yeah. I have them, and I knew you would bring them out in me. I was going to work that day, and like I get to work a little bit early.
I'm gonna have to issue a statement about this podcast.
Yeah.
Man. You know, like, I do not condone any harm or any suffering coming to any human being, but you should know I sometimes giggle about murder.
Oh, you have to, man. Everyone does.
I think I giggle about dark shit because I can't handle it. I can't process it for real. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody just was walking along the sidewalk and someone blew their head off, I would start laughing because I'm so fucking scared. I can't process what's happening, and it's so violent. It's like a cartoon, and I can't even fucking believe that I have to live through it. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. I don't deal with trauma well, so I'm a giggler. That's, you know, I'm just like, oh my fuck, can you imagine?
Nervous giggles, scared giggles.
Yeah, I'm filled with anxiety on a constant basis. I do believe in the apocalypse and like all this crazy shit. So like why
what kind of
wouldn't I?
Apocalypse? What are we facing here, Shane?
Oh, I think it's just so fragile. We're just on such a balance between floods and fires and civil wars and lack of resources and massive storms and like just mass problems, you know, like tensions between different tribes. Like, I mean, all we are as humans is just different tribes, different people who identify with each other. Like, if this neighborhood went to shit right now and you and I lived here, you and I would team up and help each other with fresh drinking water, as opposed to the other 60 people in our apartment building or neighborhood or whatever it is, right? Other 100 people, whatever the number. But then, if it was just you and me, and only our two families, then the cooperation starts to break down. And I see that happening on a very small scale throughout the world. Some places it's more prevalent than others. But the problem is we're on this crash collision with each other. And at the same time, we're also in danger in terms of the climate. Like, we're just a spinning ball in space, and every so many thousand years there's an ice age or a major event like a meteor strike eliminating most life, and then different life grows back and mutates. So we are on a very real collision course with the end of our time as we know it. And one of many things could happen. Perhaps it's a plague. Perhaps it's a war. Perhaps it's, we're only just we're on very thin ice.
Do you think,
as a species?
Yeah. Do you think the reality that we know is a simulation?
God, in some ways I hope so.
Like, do you think actually like the ending is already and we're just like playing this out to like what has already, it's like a film reel?
Maybe.
And it's like, I don't know.
Like The Matrix really was at the time a crazy thing to think about. Like, are we actually some kind of a simulation or some kind of a, the way I look at, there's this, example that somebody gave, and I heard it and I repeat it.
Yeah.
So, the idea of a kid looking at a bug or someone big looking at something small, microscopic. Life exists, so we're looking at it like, oh my God, this ant is trying to carry this breadcrumb across the highway. Of course it's going to get, or burned by the sun, or, a bird will eat it. It has very little chance. Are we like that to some bigger life force, whether it's an alien or a god or whatever it is, intangible?
I have a worse thing that I try to say, and it's kind of how I felt on mushrooms one time. But I felt like, what if everything from zero to your whole life until you die, right? You've had so many moments, so many emotions. Some days are long, some days are short.
Right.
But literally at the end of the day, it was like two aliens, and our whole universe is like a ball of weed in his bowl. And when it's just done, it's just like he lights it, and it's like, what was that? And it's like your life's
and we're gone.
Just done.
Yeah.
Like the whole story,
we burn out.
The whole story, the podcast, all of your history, your family history, it is nothing. One of the things,
Norm's 10-egg omelet.
One of the
everything
things
gone.
You said to me, probably 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago now.
Yeah, that was a different guy.
And it stuck with me, and I want to see if actually you did say it. If you go, no, I remember saying something like that. I used to say something like that. Or if it's me misremembering stuff. Because I do think I smoke a lot of pot, but I do have a good memory.
Right.
You told me 6 years ago, maybe 7 years ago now, that something like the meaning of life, or one thing you wanted people to do, and it had something to do with a teacher putting a name on a chalkboard, and you wanted people to remember your name in 100 years. Was that something you said? Something, something
Mr.
similar?
Palmer. Yeah, Mr.
So
I do. That's a very vivid memory of mine. Mr. Palmer in grade 7 was a substitute for a day. Now, our normal teacher was Mrs. COMEAU, but she was sick, or there was some reason she wasn't there.
Dude, I'm gonna fucking freak you out right now. The first band, Palmer.
Oh, wow.
COMEAU. Jamie COMEAU.
Oh my God, that is so weird.
Weird
now that's
weird
the connection
shit,
you were talking about.
But I didn't make that. That's random.
Yeah, exactly. No,
that's just
unreal. So
I believe in the simulation.
Mr. Palmer, the substitute teacher, comes into the classroom and he goes, "There's only seconds left of class," and he goes, because we hadn't, I don't know why, but most of that period we were just sitting there waiting for a teacher, like they fucked up the schedule or something. The last second he walks in and he goes, "Who will remember you in 100 years?" And he gets out the chalk and he writes, "No one." And then he underlines it and he looks at us and the bell rings.
Sounds like he was on his last day of his 2 weeks fucking notice, man.
Maybe he was just some nut bar.
Who's gonna remember you little fucks? Nobody.
I really at the time felt it was more zen than that.
Yeah, I know.
But it could be just some guy on his last fucking straw, and I took some meaning in it, and that would be the normal story for my life. Is just a series of things that I think have this deep meaning, and it's just
some
random
guy having a bad day,
monkeys throwing shit. It's just a chaos.
Who's gonna remember you in 100
But that
years?
motivated me for a long time.
It did. And it left a mark on me. I've always thought about it. Dude, but I misremembered a little bit. Because in my head, I was like, I want someone to write my name on the chalkboard. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
But I didn't quite, like, I didn't know if he wrote some names. Like, who do you
But
guys
it's true.
remember
If you
100
go
years
into a graveyard, especially those old burial
I live
grounds,
next to one.
go in there and read some of those names and read some of the things that happened. Like, they used to list on gravestones, like, yes, Emily Watson had the rickets for 3 years and died. And then she was one of 7 sisters, and 6 of them died. And, like, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
They all died? Oh, my God. There's a whole row of people that died, and they were all 7. What the fuck happened there? They're all 7-year-old kids that died at the same time. Or, like, someone lived to be 33, and you're like, wow, that's pretty old, you know, different. And you get to know all these lives, but you don't know their names. It's like Henry Watson. It's like, fuck, that guy existed, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And that...
I face that every day, man. I do the
Yeah.
dishes and stare at a graveyard.
Oh,
Like,
really?
Yeah, I live right next
Do you
to it.
think about it ever?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. To a certain point, man, when we first moved there, like, for like 2 years, man, I honestly thought I could pass through messages from people in the graveyard. I thought they were like passing messages. Dead people were passing messages through me.
Oh,
and
my
I couldn't
God.
communicate them out to who they needed to go to, but I was being spoken to. Mental illness, like, let's be honest, most likely some sort of mental
Who knows?
illness, but like I'm laying in bed and it felt like stories were passing through from the area of the graveyard, like into me, that needed to go out. It was a weird thing. Yeah, no, I did think about it. Now, you know, I've lived there for 4 years, so it's just like, oh, graveyard, you know what I mean? But I've
you've
gone
normalized it, or it's
I've gone
normalized
through
itself.
it. Like, I've gone through it. There's a lot of like children in there, you know, it's an old graveyard. There's people in there from like the 1800s.
I totally believe in all that unexplained
Oh, dude, there
phenomena.
was some weird trippy stuff was
Like,
happening to
I
me.
saw an alien when I was a kid.
Sure.
And, you know, I say it out loud, even alone or to a friend, and it sounds insane.
The door shut.
And there's no way. That's weird. So there was a car in the parking lot. The door was wide open, and now the door is shut. I didn't hear it close. What are we on? An episode of Ghost Hunters here?
No,
Come
I
on.
heard it close though.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. It's not as good of a story. So it is like Ghost Hunters or whatever
But I
those
didn't
shows
see what
are.
happened.
Anyway, so I did see an alien when I was a kid, and it came up from behind a tree. I was walking home. I was walking home the long way so that I could have a cigarette. My parents didn't know I was smoking. I was like 16, 17, something like that.
You're Richardson in it right now.
Oh, I'm up.
You're good now. You're
There.
good.
So I'm 16, 17, walking home the long way so I can have a cigarette. My parents don't know I smoke. And out from behind a tree comes this alien. And that is, it sounds like a lie. But I mean, I wish somebody was with me. I really do. Because I know what I saw. And it terrified me. And
What did it look like?
It's everything you think. It's like the upside down pear-shaped head with
What do you
these
think it was?
teardrop eyes that were darker. The eyes were the darkest thing, and the head was like a gray or like a little bit lighter than the eyes, and then the body was just in a robe, like a cloak with like a hood. And I know what I saw, man, and it was taller than the average man, and it came out from behind the tree like it was on wheels. You know, it wasn't like a human will step, right? So like either Steven Spielberg played the greatest trick on me, he was just like wasting his special effects,
Or that like
or
Donnie
that
Smith
actually
was dressing
happened,
up?
or that actually happened. So when somebody says to me, ooh, like I felt like spirits were talking to me for shit, I believe that shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like as weird stuff like that. Like, what happened when you focused on it? Did it just disappear, or like what happened?
I started to run away, and when I looked back, it was like one of those paintings that no matter which way you look at the painting, it looks like the character in the painting is looking back at you.
Sure.
So it was a very weird kind of experience, 3D experience. No matter how far I ran or how fast I ran, it seemed like it was right in my head or something.
Wow.
But I did get away. I went home, and I told my mother what I had seen, and she almost called I don't know. She was thinking about maybe calling someone to see if they could help, but she didn't. She just said, "Oh, you never know," and just kind of, we never spoke about it again, right? And now she's an old lady, and I'm getting to be an older man, and
I
guess
that
that's just going to be
between you and her.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, man.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Yeah, it was the most I'd ever talked, and I was blown away at some of the things I learned about myself.
Yeah.
Like I was
how you have complete wrong memories, right?
Yeah, 100%. Like I was not a test tube baby, but like she got fertility drugs to have me.
Right, and you always thought you were a mistake.
Yeah,
and like you were the most intended one.
Yeah, and that's what I mean about like when I asked James Mullinger why didn't you ever book me, and when I talked to my mom and found out that I was wanted, like the value of investing in relationships is.
Like you went 40 years on the planet thinking you were a mistake.
Yeah. And for no reason other than I didn't ask, but I didn't know to ask,
Right.
So like asking your friends for help, asking your family for information, talking, being interested, being present. These are all things that I aspire to do. And I don't always do it, but I want to be that person.
Well, I mean,
I want to be better every day.
Yeah. Well, that podcast kind of just made me want to like podcast with my dad, even though I don't know how it would turn out. And it's like kind of like a really nervous, I have no problem hanging out with my dad and shooting pool and smoking a joint with him. Like we're cool. But to be like, hey Dad, do you want to record a podcast and I'm going to put it out like as an episode? It seems like a scary thing.
Yeah. And I'm scared about getting Alicia on my podcast. And I think, but I shouldn't be. I really want to talk to her. She is an interesting person.
Who thought that this could shatter it into a million pieces? Held my glass heart right in my hand, and now
Yeah, life is the reality of life is very sobering, you know, like I have to tonight I have to go home and get some rest, and then tomorrow morning I have to put Chuckles posters all over the city, and I'd rather be hanging out with my daughter. And we do have plans to have like a tacos for supper and a board game. And
can I give you a suggestion?
Sure.
So you're having tacos, right?
Yeah.
My favorite thing to do is go get your daughter or your son or whoever's eating supper with you that night, if it's all of them. Get them to pick out their favorite Dorito flavor, whether it's Cool Ranch, Nacho, or Zesty Doritos, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you cut like the $1.49 bag, whatever, like a, you know.
Yeah.
Or even for like your daughter, even a smaller bag because she's small. Then like cut it sideways, so it's like a bag. Then you put your taco meat in it. You put your sour cream, your cheese, your tomatoes, salsa.
I've had that before.
In a bag. It's so fucking good.
I taste it on food
so
trucks. I do love it.
Good, man. I love taco in a bag. I had it this week, and I'm like, I love taco in a bag way more than tacos.
Wow, I gotta try it out again.
So good.
Alicia is sort of a vegetarian. She's not hardcore, like she'll still have eggs.
Yeah.
You know, and fish. But other than that, she does not eat chicken, beef, you know. And so during taco time, she has like this plant-based meat in her tacos.
Right.
And my son actually really likes it. So they eat that, and Ella and I eat the real meat.
Right.
And it's cool. Taco's one of those things you can kind of play with a little bit and have it a little differently, you know. And pizza too. Those are things. And spaghetti. There's a lot of things you can make that, you know, can kind of everybody's into, and, you know, so I try to make, if I'm cooking, I try to make everybody happy, but tacos in a bag would be cool. It'd be a cool switch, you know, they wouldn't see that coming.
Oh, that's the thing. It's like, nope. And you don't have to get the whole box with the soft kit or the hard kit. You just go grab some Doritos, you grab a fucking thing of taco spice, and you're on the races. A tub of sour cream.
Yeah.
Shred up some cheese.
Anyway, we're doing that Saturday night, but Saturday morning.
Yeah, Chuckles posters.
So it's like one of those things.
How long does that take you? How many posters do you do up?
Oh my God. Well, we do all of St. John, man, and I mean, it's a big city. It's a small city, but it's big when you go to put paper all over it. So we do the city market, we do all the gas stations, we do the liquor stores, we do convenience stores. Yep. Me, Julie, Alicia, Dale.
Okay.
Like, it takes a ton of people.
Yeah.
And you know, we each
these are for
sometimes we can do it together.
Posters
sometimes
for
we
what
do
show?
Separate, all of them, all of the shows. So,
but I mean, like right now, are you postering for shows? Like you've already got June up, so you're postering for July, or
sort of like we've already got posters up for June 14th and 15th, and now just June 15th because 14th isn't being advertised; it's private. But so the 15th we got posters up for already.
Yeah.
May's coming down, and now Sagan posters are going down, and now going up are the Dave Merhage posters. He's 21st, 22nd in June. So like we're always a few weeks ahead of it. Yeah. And so right now, when you walk around, you see the Funnies for the Felines fundraiser featuring Mark Sauvé. But also, soon you'll be seeing Dave Merhage go up as of tomorrow, right? So Julie's already got half of the city done, and I got Grand Bay done. Actually, Alicia posted Grand Bay. So it's like everybody's working together. Alicia does all the Facebook posting, and, you know, so it's really great to get support from her, and Julie's, like, the best at business. And Dale, like, has great ideas and will chauffeur the comedians around. So, like, it really is like a team effort, but it's also like a family kind of, you know.
Absolutely, man. It's a small business.
Yeah, exactly. So we're having fun, and I hope that someday I'll be able to take less and less of a role in it. Like, I've already started to sort of, you know, just get into a rhythm, get the job done. I'm not really interested in hanging out anymore. You know, like I used to hang out hours before the show, hours afterwards. But now it's like, get in, get the show set up. Okay, I'm going to be here until the show's over, 11 o'clock. I'm going home. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm less enchanted with it than I was in the beginning. I'm having a kind of a rebirth, or no, that's not the right word, but I'm more interested in being a comedian right now than a promoter, you know? And that stuff just kind of goes in and out, and same now, podcasting is like kind of this new passion, right? So it all blends together, and I'm just trying to enjoy my time, and tomorrow I'd rather be hanging out with my daughter rather than doing the posters, but hey, you know, it is what it is.
So still from stage tonight, you're like, you had the ex-wife joke, which was funny. The funny,
Nice.
like, if you have an ex-wife, it should be her. Like, that was the funny joke. Things are cool. Like, you see your kids when you want to see them and stuff like that. Yeah,
we do.
Pretty, what's the word? Amicable split or whatever they would say?
Amicable, yeah.
Amicable.
Yeah, I learned that word. I was like...
Did I use it right, though? Like,
yes, you used it right.
See, that's the
yeah,
thing.
it was just a pronunciation thing.
I'm good at that. Like, knowing in my head, like, that's the word you want to use, but don't know how to pronounce it.
Oh, yeah, that's a hard one to... There's a lot of syllables to contend with. And
what's the proper way?
Amicable.
Amicable.
Yeah, perfect. You nailed it.
Boo-young choi!
Buhan Hao.
Buhan Hao.
Your pronunciation is
What the
Buhan
fuck?
Hao.
I bet you that guy's car lights are still flashing over there.
Oh, crazy.
No, the RF's parents.
Oh, right.
Right?
Oh, my God. What were we
But it was a
talking
good
about?
split. Like, you see your kids when you want
Oh,
to
yeah.
see
No, we
Ella
do
and
week on, week off.
Casey.
So, like,
Okay.
Sunday is transition day, and the kids come over. And,
Full week?
Yep, full week
week
on,
with you?
full week off. Now, Casey and I had a little bit of a falling out. He's 17.
Yeah.
And he expects that we're just going to drive him whenever he announces that he's going somewhere.
Sure.
And so it's just typical stuff, I hope. I've been talking to my therapist about it. You know, it's just he said he threatened to leave, and in anger, I said, you know, if you're leaving, don't come back. And it's just the classic stupid ass dad thing to say, and I feel shitty about it. And he took it to heart quite a bit and has decided that he's on dad strike. He's not coming back to dad's for a bit, and it makes me feel shitty. And I reached out to him and texted him, and we text back and forth a little bit, and, you know, said, you know, I love you. I know shit can't be tense between father and son. I know, like, I say Papa Boone, but my stepfather Alan is who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Say Papa Boone and I didn't get along, and I didn't speak to him for like a decade, and I don't want that to be us.
Right.
So I'm trying to...
I don't want you coming to me when you're 27 saying, man, that fight was silly. You know what
yeah,
I mean? Like,
yeah.
live
Like, I don't want to lose
yeah.
time with him. I've already lost enough time with him.
Right.
But he's on dad strike right now, and if I'm honest, it's really painful. It's really, I'm heartbroken, man. Like, there's no worse feeling than your kid doesn't want to be with you.
Right.
But it's also like, I got to remember, he's a teenager. He's going through a lot. He's got an ex-girlfriend that's really bothering him. And he's doing the normal, he has the normal high school pressures. He's in the band. He's in rugby. Sometimes I bitch and moan about taking him to rugby because it is a pain in the ass. It's like, I'm going to Island View School, so pick me up at 7. It's like, oh, Alicia works till 7, and I have Ella over at the whatever, and it's like, shit, why didn't you tell me about this at the first of the week? And those little frustrations kind of build into this fight, and it's just like, man, now I just sound like the dad that's like constantly fucking nagging his son, like, come on, why aren't you different and doing what I want?
Right.
You know, that's not good for
but in
a
reality,
person's psyche, you know? But,
you know, him being in rugby's good, you know, like, all, like,
oh, man,
it's just like a minor scheduling conflict.
Yeah,
like,
he couldn't be a better kid.
A minor scheduling conflict just causes a rift between, you know, like,
yeah. And it's like, I'm just being selfish, and I feel bad, and I want things to be so much better, and love them, you know. But anyway, my daughter and I are best friends.
Yeah.
We laugh at farts, you know, like,
Right
she's
on.
9. She's the best. She's absolutely the best. Like, we have so much fun. She teaches me handshakes and things that are happening at school. I know we make I make a fun time of like she's in French immersion, so I will read all of her French. And I will read it terribly, and then she'll start laughing, and there's a real bond between us.
Yeah.
And she's my best friend in the world, and probably the reason I'm alive is her and Casey. Like, and definitely.
You don't say that to them though, right?
Never.
Right, because that's like that'd be such a like. You know,
the only reason I'm alive is you.
Man,
no pressure.
And I've heard like I have a friend that. Like that was put on him at like you know, between your kids'
Really good
age.
for a person, I would say.
Like, oh.
No, they never hear that.
Okay.
But they'll probably hear this podcast 20 years from now and be like, "What the fuck?" But like, they do make my life so much better and worth living.
I mean,
and everything. Right?
Part of the reason why I do the podcast now is like if anything ever did happen to me, that like my kid would have somewhat of a
record.
Yeah, like I can go back and listen to, you know, hopefully hundreds of hours of my father talking to people that were in his life.
Trevor Muxworthy is the greatest man who ever lived. So like 60 years from now, in a space capsule on their way to Mars, they'll be like, "This is the document where this guy told my dad."
It's a renamed episode. It's Trevor
he
Muxworthy
was the greatest guy who
Norm
ever
Macdonald
lived.
on the podcast.
and Norm Macdonald said he was the greatest guy who ever lived.
But wouldn't take a car drive from a stranger, which is...
That's right. Well, you know, we can only hope the best for our children. That sounded like a goddamn We Are the World commercial or something. But really, we do want the best for our kids because they're pretty great.
Yeah, man, it's like that cliche thing that people say about like children and it will change your life and love and things like that. It's a like I get it now. You know what I mean? Like having a kid and like all those feelings of
you never love a wife or a boyfriend or whatever you got more than your kid.
No.
Like your kid is just like you've never really experienced honest love. Like intense, honest, amazing love. That can kind of occur between a friend.
Sure.
And maybe you could find a lover that, you know, blew your socks off and was every bit as important. But I say for the most part, your child is the most intense love you will ever feel.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, 100%.
Anyway,
it's
I'm not
indescribable because
saying
it's
something
not
that
like
hasn't been said before,
right.
you know.
You know, it's
been
said. But that's why you want, you know, everything for them. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You want 17's a tough age though. I was
Were you rebellious?
Well, my parents split up when I was in grade 9.
Okay.
Like writing was on the wall, like grade 8 type thing. You know what I mean? Like
it was intense fights. And,
yeah. I mean, we lived in a trailer, and you know, you hear everything in a trailer.
I live in a trailer.
I live in a trailer now, so I mean, it's you know.
Kendrick's gonna hear everything, so you better be on your best.
He's gonna hear us arguing. He's gonna hear everything.
Oh no, poor Kendrick.
I'm gonna have to give him like pep talks, like, hey buddy, like your mom's gonna get it tonight, so you better put your headphones in, like stuff like that. I mean, it's gonna have to be real.
But at least you're telling him.
Put your headphones on.
This is how it is,
unless
man.
you're gonna hear old daddy come. Oh, daddy come. Oh, daddy come.
Oh no.
Oh, daddy come. Oh.
Nanny be good. No. Is that what you were singing? Nanny be good?
I don't know what I
think you were.
Whoa.
Whoa, Nanny, go.
Yeah.
Whoa, Nanny, go.
Yeah.
Go. Nanny be good. So, Kendrick,
she made
I'm sorry.
Daddy come. Nanny be good.
This episode in the time capsule on the way to Mars should be called Kendrick, I'm sorry.
Well, he's going to be fucking piloting the fucking
right he
ship,
is.
And he's going to be like, yeah, my dad made me put my headphones on.
They'll write about your son one day. They'll
that's
be
why
like,
I'm a rational human being. I didn't
they'll be
hear
like,
him plow my father. Or my father.
Kendrick Muxworthy flew the first mission to Mars and saved humanity. Can you imagine? Maybe.
I wish. I was big into... I went to space camp when I was a kid.
You did?
Yeah, in Laval.
Legit?
Yeah, like
Laval,
NASA
Quebec?
Camp. Yeah.
Whoa.
Grade 8.
Did you see real astronaut helmets?
Oh, we got to do a full simulation with like the Canada
Did you
Arm.
float?
and like on the wall. Yeah, and we did
on the wall. They
like,
make you float on the wall?
With the wall. The only zero gravity training, because they didn't get us to go in a plane like and do it that way, is you can like rock climb in zero gravity, because they just counter your weight on the other side of it, and you're in zero gravity, so you get to like rock climb up a wall on like zero gravity.
They pressurize it somehow?
No, they would just, if you were 160 pounds, they would put 160 pounds on the other side, and you would be zero gravity. I don't know. You could like
kind of like a seesaw.
You could jump and then go back down, and it would.
Cool.
And then we went in that thing that you like,
I forgot to tell the joke tonight about my my sister's
yeast infection.
Yeah,
I heard that was
one.
bad. We heard that up in Fredericton.
I never told a joke about my sister having a yeast infection.
You should.
But I'm going to now.
Yeah.
No.
And she put cloves of garlic in it to like make it better.
Oh God! And then she
and
flipped
just her
upside
husband
down.
just kept on eating. It's like
Oh Jesus Christ!
it's like garlic bread.
Oh my God!
Because it's yeasty, don't you get it?
Wow, that's so terrible. God, you're crazy. But no, I fell into the ditch, and you know those handlebars that the rubber pokes through the handlebars. Or the handlebars poke through the rubber, rather, and there's a sharp tube with a bicycle.
Oh, okay.
You know?
Yeah.
How
maybe.
a bicycle handle is built.
Oh, I was thinking of mustaches, but yeah.
Yeah. So the rubber.
Yeah, I get you now.
Yeah, okay. So the metal's sticking out of the rubber.
Yeah.
Anyway, that happened.
End,
Yeah, yeah. And then when you fall into a ditch, and you get that tube in the dick.
Yeah.
I got a cut dick. And like my pants started to bleed. And like, I was like 15 years old and I had my first period. It was like crazy. And this actually happened, and I had to run to my sister's house and show her my dick. And I tell that whole story on stage, but I don't mention that I was 15. And then the punchline is, can you believe it? Right on my 35th birthday. And like, so that gets the pop, right? And
yeah.
But I totally forgot to do that tonight. But
that's all right, man.
And that just pops in my head, right? And it's like, that's why I should be recording everything, writing everything down, being more meticulous, and, you know, because I could just get better and better, you know, if I was more on top of documenting everything so that I could study it and see what I can work better. But, you know, this is one thing that I wanted to tell you. On the drive here, I shut off my radio.
Yeah.
And I shut off my like CD player. I don't listen. I didn't listen to the podcast. I took my headphones out. Didn't listen to my podcast.
Just
Nothing. All the way to Fredericton. And I thought about coming unglued and like how I was going to approach the set and like what I was going to say and my fallbacks. And I thought, well, that wedding ring joke's pretty good. And like I was trying to piece it together. And then I kind of gave up on it. Like when I got to the city limits, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna freestyle it a bit. I'm gonna see what happens.
Yeah,
and
I do that.
And it worked. It worked really well. But I did give it some conscious thought, and I did piece together a few things I was gonna do.
Yeah.
And I had a plan. I think it's good to have a plan on stage.
Sounds like you built like a mental set list. You're like, oh, I'm gonna go here. If this fails, I'm gonna, do this.
Yeah.
And sure, yeah, you forgot a joke and that you intended to tell, but for the most part, you did what you wanted to do.
Exactly.
You riffed.
Yeah,
you were honest. You got to tell 16 people that you're suicidal.
Yeah.
And you're not on medication. I wanted to, like, if I was a bad comedy fan,
yeah,
I would have heckled like Kanye or something, like when you said that, right?
Oh, yeah,
like,
Kanye's
medicated. I would have been like, oh my God.
Did you see the David Letterman interview?
No, I haven't.
It's great. You should watch it. Yeah, because it goes right into that. He goes right into his mental illness. It's insane. It's insane to watch.
I love Kanye
this
West.
icon. But I guess I don't know what to think of Kanye because I really like some of the stuff he did, some of the stuff I didn't, and but one thing you can say about him, he's totally honest.
Yeah, he is, and I just go back to like when, like college dropout and graduation. Like I remember
Graduation was one of my favorite albums.
Those two, and then like My Twisted Dark Fantasy. I don't know. It's like he's good. Like his art, his beats are incredible.
Jesus Walks.
Like those.
Jesus Walks was incredible.
Like all last year when he released those, like him with Kid Cudi, the Kid See Ghost project was awesome. Like all of the beats for Pusha T. Like he just went like, yeah, every project was only 7 songs long, but like that chick that he has on his label, Tiana or something like that. Her. Sorry for not getting your name right, But, like, he's good, man. And, yeah, he says some crazy shit because he's got a giant fucking microphone stuck in his face. And whatever he says is going to be plastered on TMZ and then funnel through to CNN and NBC and Fox News.
And, of course, they focus on only the craziest shit he says, not the other subtleties.
Yeah.
And, like, you know, there's no nuance. And you hear Joe Rogan talk about that a lot. It's true. People don't recognize a nuance at all. They just, if they hear you, like, you know, there's people that are going to listen to this podcast say, earlier they made Chinese jokes. No, we didn't. We pointed out that these Chinese guys are hardworking. And then it was like, when you did the accent, it was like, oh, you know, like, but you're not supposed to do that. But
I still think it's fine.
Well, it's just, you know, but it's like we laugh and then how we judge ourselves and we go, oh, you know, am I bad for laughing? But it's like, it's pretty ridiculous when you try to sound like someone you're not. And it's not, it doesn't come from a hateful place, you know, but there's no, if anybody hears it or whatever, they get upset because there's no room for nuance. There's no room for an opinion on something, you know, like it's just very judgmental these days. And, I guess you have to be precise with your language. I don't know.
Well, if anything, like my Asian voice, I was like, oh, I'm not on Facebook. I read books with letters in them. Like, he's a smart man. He's a smart, well-educated man.
Who, Kanye?
No, Bin Ho Sang there, the guy that you worked with in Saskatoon.
Yeah, I actually don't remember his name at this moment, but I don't think
Korean.
It was that.
No, that would be Korean. They do that type of stuff.
Oh, do they? Yeah, many hyphens or whatever?
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, I think we're going to drive back to your car.
Let's do it.
Now, because it's late. I think the Raptors have just about won. That's what I was kind of
No way, let's check the score one more time.
Let's check.
Oh, we never did talk about Drake other than his music.
I don't like Drake.
Man, he's just doing all these antics by the court, like on the side court. Wow, 105-92. Wow.
They can win it in Toronto.
Oh, are you saying the Raptors won?
Yes.
Wow. 105-92. So Drake is on there cheering for them and everything.
Yeah,
but
he's a global ambassador.
But where was he when they were losing? He wasn't there.
Yeah, Drake's always been there courtside.
Always?
Well,
for the Raptors?
Since he's been...
There's some criticism that he hasn't.
Well, I don't know. He's been there. Like, he's not a bandwagon fan. Like, you know.
Okay.
Well, ever since... I
like him more now.
You know, Drake has been there, I'm pretty sure. Like, you know, through, like, the last 5 seasons. He might not be at every home game, but who can be expected to be at every home game?
One guy. Did you see that?
Well, yeah, that guy, yeah.
The super fan? I forget his name.
Well, of course, Navi or something like that.
And he, like, raises money and gives... Or, you know, he shares his fortune and he gives away tickets to kids.
Such a Canadian thing to do, though. I mean, nothing against this guy. This guy's fantastic. He, you know, spends hundreds of thousands of dollars of having children at the games and making basketball accessible to them. But I found it quite funny and so Canadian that, like, after that, like, the media's like, Drake isn't the super fan. This guy of multiculturalism, this Sikh guy, this Sikh, you know, I'm just like, it's so Canada. Like,
and I hope you don't think that I jumped on the bandwagon with that.
No. And the guy is a good guy, man. The guy fucking worked hard.
Yeah.
Like, he got to Canada, had nothing but shitty jobs, and then was like, you know what? I'm going to try selling cars.
I just don't remember the news reporting Drake being there before this. But maybe it's only because the Raptors are doing well that I see the Raptors on the news, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's cool. So that's some basketball talk. That's basketball talk
so
with
the
Trevor
Raptors,
and Shane.
Right now, it's Friday, sometime in June 2019.
June 7th.
June 7th. This podcast will be out this upcoming Wednesday, whatever day that will be. You guys are listening anytime after that because that's how the current concept of time works as far as we know it. Although this handy-dandy recorder could have some technological capabilities that I could be talking to the future or the past. I don't know. But the Raptors are up 3-1 against the Golden State Basketball Warriors of Oakland.
Sorry, Steph Curry. Sorry.
3-1.
You may not mean nothing
that's what I was trying to get to real
Steph
quick.
Curry can't dunk on me. He has to take the shots from afar. He wants them shots forever, man.
Where is
But he ain't doing it because the Raptors aren't letting him do it enough.
the next game? The Raptors can win it all on Monday, June 10th. So hopefully...
This is like the 92 Blue Jays, man. It is. Like, Toronto could be champs again. World champs.
And I'm happy it's the Raptors because Leafs fans would be insufferable being a Flyers fan.
Dude, we got to start being sportscasters. We're good at this shit.
I love sports. I can shoot the shit about any sport.
I can't.
You name it. I could shoot the shit.
I'd be like, Wayne Gretzky was the greatest.
Oh, I mean, how about Gordy Orr there?
Yeah.
You know, Gordy Orr.
Kirby Puckett.
Yeah.
I'm just naming sports people I remember.
It's Bobby Orr, I know. So I'm gonna get an email.
Ozzie Smith.
Listen to that fucking exhaust, baby.
It's been fun, man.
Thanks for Birchwood. I don't know if this is gonna be on yours or what, but you can have it all.
I might cut it up. There's a lot.
I know you cut it up.
Cut it up. I'm a cut up.
You cut your podcasts. You're a cutter.
I'm a cutter. Oh my God, that's dark. Nice talking to you, brother.
You too, man. I'm going to keep mine going for right now, but...
Perfect.
Because I like to... I'm wondering if someone's living in this vehicle over here.
It could be, right? It could be, right? Trev 2.
So you're on Anchor on your podcast, Birchwood?
Yeah. I'm thinking about switching. I love the
only thing I've heard about
interaction.
Anchor is like something about like, I don't know, about like the RSS feed, or you don't own your RSS feed, they own it or something, I don't know.
That's entirely possible. One thing I don't like about it, though, one thing I do like about it is the interaction, like the actual
So was that
editing.
their app that you used to record? Yeah. And it probably does something to the voice levels, right? Like it has something in there that like boosts the audio quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess so.
Dude, your podcast sounds pretty good.
But the thing is, I want to switch. Like they don't let you. Like you can add a sponsored segment and get paid. They insert the commercials or whatever, but you can't do it if you're in Canada. It's US only. So I'm just like, maybe I should just switch. And then I'm thinking I should just do, the whole corporate sponsorship thing and just do it locally.
Yeah, do it. Well, I mean, the amount that you'd get for listeners is like you'd probably be able to raise more funds pitching it to locals, right?
Yeah, maybe so.
Than what they would give you on a per listen, because that's what they're going to pay you out, right? How many people listen to your ad? X amount of people. Okay, we're going to pay you $1.32 for the 100 and some listeners, right?
Yeah.
Where you could pitch it to a local business and say, hey, I will
talk about your brand for X amount of dollars a month.
Can I not go straight? Oh, yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, exactly. For the next 10 episodes, I will do a 45-second or a 1-minute plug for X amount of dollars, right?
Yep, exactly. Well, that's a road I will consider. Any big plans for the weekend?
For this weekend? No, I don't think so. It gets real busy for me at the end of June. I've got Folly Fest. Actually, all of this music that you've heard on this episode is going to be at Folly Fest, which is in the village of Gagetown. So this episode's a little bit special, Shane.
Oh, nice.
All of the music that played during our episode will be at a wonderful festival in the village of Gagetown between Fredericton and St. John.
And that's when you'll see PALLMER and COMEAU.
Jamie COMEAU. Who did we hear on this episode? Oka.
Nice.
The Apollo Sons.
And more.
Derb, I believe. Yeah, there's...
you just got to go to Folly Fest.
Oh, man, it's my favorite weekend of the year. It's going to be the first
Do they have a website?
Of course, follyfest.ca. It's their 11th year. It's going to be Kendrick's first full music festival outside of the womb. He went to one while he was inside of the womb, and he's gone to like a one-day music event, but he hasn't and he's gone camping, but he hasn't combined them all.
Nice.
So we're gonna camp there.
Fun.
They've got family camping. It's a really cool festival. That's at the end of June, and then like it gets busy. We've got a wedding one week. I've got another festival. We've got a family like reunion that happens every year.
Sweet.
So like it gets busy once the nice weather.
Yeah, and that's good, man. And life's for living. That's what I say.
Life's for living. I like that one.
Yeah, man.
We did a little tour of downtown Fredericton.
Yeah, man, I loved it. Thanks for having me on the show, and
we're still going for a bit.
I just love this this whole idea of being able to talk to my friends. You know, like, and even Joe Rogan has said that. Like, I keep mentioning Joe Rogan, but like
I've met that guy too.
But he, you know, I will listen to his show, and every so often he'll say in his show, like, how often do you actually talk to people, especially in this time?
Oh, that's, yeah.
It's so interesting to talk to people, and you know, it can be looked at as a bit strange, because why we didn't do this in the past, but this is friggin' cool. It's really cool to talk to your friends and have meaningful conversations. You know, I don't know who decided that why they decided they'd stand right in the road, but I guess
I think they were looking for a cab. Actually, thought I was a cab.
And you were not a cab.
Look at this.
I can't.
Going out.
Oh my God.
Trying to get a piece of cock.
No, thank you. That's a whole lot of trouble over there.
Sorry, we're just two dudes podcasting. We're not a cab. We're going to be out of the lane in a second.
Okay.
All right. Are you looking for a cab?
Yeah, I have a really drunk friend
Yeah.
who's puking on the side of the road.
Wow.
If I had any extra seats, I would drive you.
Anything can happen on this podcast.
Me, I don't need to drive.
Cool,
Drive
cool.
my friend home?
No, I cannot. I have a baby seat and no other seats in here. I'm sorry.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. That's okay.
All right.
Wow, that was...
Well, that was good. That was great content for the
That was
episode.
amazing content.
My friend puked.
My friend puked. Can I get a ride? No.
Well, buddy,
another great night in Canadian comedy.
Come on into my house. Yes, you could tear it down, I wouldn't move my mouth. I've been guilty of that before. I've been guilty of a few things, some even in court, and you could treat me like the three little pigs. Only difference is I don't care if you blow my twig, and you could keep me up all night, I know. Sometimes the two of us, and sometimes I just moan alone. I could ruin your party, then be the pinata. Yeah, you could beat me till I'm black and blue. Then I'll explode, and you rot your teeth out. Come and come, you were dumb enough to pick up and chew. Follow me into the dark. I could be your seeing eye dog, I'm just a dog at heart. And you could treat me like a big bad wolf. Oh, what big eyes I have, the kind you probably like to poke. And what big teeth I have to chew in the back. Only difference is I don't know when to shut my yap. I could ruin your party, then beat the pinata. Yeah, you could beat me till I'm black and blue. Then I'll explode, and you rot your teeth out. On the gummy words I'm enough to pick up and chew. Come on into my house. Yes, you could tear it down, I wouldn't move my mouth. 'Cause I've been guilty of that before. I've been guilty of a few things, Some even in court, and you could treat me like a free little pigs. Only difference is I don't care if you blow my twig. And you could keep me up all night, I know. Sometimes the two of us, and sometimes I just moan along, yes I do. I could ruin your party, then beat the pinata. Yeah, you could beat me till I'm black and blue. Then I'll explode, and you rot your teeth out. On the gummy word, I'm enough to pick up and chew. On the gummy word, I'm enough to pick up and chew. In the gummy word, I'm enough to pick up and chew.